Welcome back, everybody, to ESL Challenger League Season 48 European Edition. Once again, it's myself, Nauri, and Grimirana or Freddy bringing you more of the playoff action today. How are you doing today, Freddy?
I'm doing pretty damn good. I'm really excited because basically our whole seasons have led up to literally this game. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I had some banging food today. How about you, Sam? You doing well?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I had a day off from teaching today because I do that on the
Oh, that's
side.
good.
Yeah, so I have spent the day mentally preparing for the epic rematch that we have ahead of us. But without getting too ahead of ourselves, let's jump into the playoff bracket and see how things have shaped up over the last couple of days. We had a really cool matchup yesterday. Saw versus Sangal started off one way, ended in a completely different direction. Meanwhile, Nemiga went 2-0 over 3D Max to confirm themselves their spot continued in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I think two super impressive wins from both sides. Even though you might look at Saw and you're like, but they just removed a player. Agile was literally the reason why they won some of those rounds, in especially map number 3. So I don't even think there should be that asterisk necessarily over that. And I think for Nemiga, like there's nothing you can say. That's a fantastic win over 3D Max. And I think 3D Max and kind of those teams that have had success recently actually overshadow the success of Nemiga and their kind of uprise in the scene. So it's really cool that they are now in touching distance away from Pro League.
Well, speaking of our upper bracket, let's go and have a look at our schedule for today because we will, of course, be following the upper bracket here today on our A stream, Nemiga versus Sangal. A massive rematch considering the two of them played each other just yesterday on LAN. Over on our B stream, we've got 3D Max playing against Sashi and Saw versus 9 Pandas to round out our two lower bracket matches. Some interesting results I felt like across the board, but I think that we're kind of par for the course. You know, the big surprises were coming into playoffs, but now that we're in playoffs, things seem to be pretty much as expected.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so far in the playoff brackets there have been any surprises, but we can kind of set aside everything so we can go take a look at the game at hand. Nemiga versus Sangal. This is, for me, maybe the most exciting matchup you could get in the whole tournament. Maybe like a bait or whatever, but this is a team this is teams that have played against each other numerous occasions offline and on LAN, are currently literally at the same tournament in the same group of that tournament, as you mentioned, played yesterday in the opening stages. And it's Sangal who are looking to hold on to their ESL Challenger League crown and also rebook themselves a spot at Pro League for season 21.
What I find so interesting about this matchup is when you look at the history. Now, these two teams have played each other 4 times over the course of the last 4 months, going back to about April. In that time, not a single map has not gone to map 3. And they are split directly down the middle, 6 maps apiece. They've gone back and forth in who's won the series. Nemiga, Sangal, Nemiga, Sangal. Their maps have gone back and forth. You take Ancient, for example. Nemiga won it, then Sangal won it, then Nemiga won it, then Sangal won it. And their Anubis looks very similar. So these are two teams that have been very kind of neck and neck for the entirety of this year so far. And yesterday was no different. So today, one of those two teams is going to come out ahead of the other. Let's go ahead and take a look at our veto to see what our playground is going to look like, because there have been some change-ups, but there have been some consistencies in the Ancient and the Anubis. The return of Mirage may be a bit of a surprise though, Freddie.
Yes, this is a really interesting veto because even though Sangal won on Vertigo, and there's actually potentially an argument that Sangal are the best team on Vertigo in the world right now, and that's not even necessarily because they're so good on it. It's just because no one else plays it. So they're like, it's like the narrative of, well, we're not perfect, like we're not perfect on it, but everyone else is really bad on it. And I heard someone be like, well, how do they even get practice? Because no one plays it. I was like, that's actually a really good point. Maybe if they can't get practice, no one else can. But it's been a really big reason for Sangal's development in the last couple of months. However, it's not in the veto today. It's Mirage. And I had like a small little theory of, firstly, they probably weren't too happy about Vertigo. Yesterday on LAN, it took a lot of heroics from the likes of Sammy, Youngster, and then Jota, who kind of warmed up into that series. But they started, it was 0-6 down, 2-8 down. Like, that was not a comfortable win for them. It was in double overtime. Like, that's never going to be nice. Mirage, however, is a map that Sangal are fantastic at. They play it numerous times on LAN. It was a big reason for them going to the Armaz. They demolished Fluxo this morning, whereas Nemiga lost to Aurora this morning on Mirage. So there's ever like a method to the madness. It could be something to do with like, well, recency bias. We're pretty good on it. You've lost it. Let's throw a curveball. Maybe they don't expect it.
Well, I'm going to ask you your predictions, and I do think I know what your answer is. I think I can expect that, but why don't you give it to us, Freddie?
I'll be honest. I'm a massive Sangal fan. Like, they're my favorites for the whole tournament because I just love them. Like, I think they're a really cool team where you've got like Jota, who is playing just maybe the best Counter-Strike level play in his career. I hope not, because I think he's got such a high skill ceiling, and I hope he hasn't hit that just yet. But it's interesting today, Sam, that for maybe one of the first times you're actually agreeing with me, or I guess like we're on the same page with this one.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a surprise. There was a moment where I thought, you know what, given the trend, the fact that they've literally ping-ponged through their last few series, maybe Nemiga, maybe that's where I should throw in my chips. But again, recency bias. Sangal just had a great performance yesterday, and again today, they're looking quite strong. So I think there's a good chance they're going to walk away with this one. Hopefully everybody is firing on all cylinders like they were previously. And the next thing that I'm going to have to ask you about is, there are a lot of players here on these teams, and we've seen some of them in action recently. So go ahead and let us know, Freddie, who is our player to watch for today?
I think if you look at this whole game, you're thinking at Xanta for Nemiga, or you're looking at Jota for Sangal. However, that's kind of boring to just pick the two best players on the server. And I think I want to pick xFloud for the player to watch. And I'm making this like a tiny little head-to-head. So I'm going to compare xFloud to Risky Bob. Risky Bob has had to fill a vacancy which Flamus left when he moved to Gamer Legion, because they've picked up someone like Zwei who doesn't quite fill in that kind of aggressive nature that Flamus had. So I think you've got xFloud and Risky Bob, who are both these not star players, but in a lot of other teams, they would be star players. And xFloud has been a star player previously in rosters. And I think realistically, you're always going to have good results from Jota and Xanta. But the win condition for both of these teams is potentially someone like Risky Bob, someone like xFloud. And guess what? Yesterday, it was xFloud. He was probably one of the main reasons as a rifler that they were able to beat Saw. And he's also just been having this kind of ridiculously amazing tournament in ESL Challenger League Season 48. Like, they've played 23 maps, and he is the second highest rated player in this whole league. And like, not many people around him have also played that many maps, which is super impressive. And it's really cool to see that Sangal and Nemiga are the two statistically highest rated teams in this tournament so far. And it's kind of like the big game, right? This is the main game of who qualifies to Pro League, whoever makes the grand finals first. And I think we've got the perfect two teams for it.
Yeah, I think it does make a lot of sense. You might look at this and go, well, that's a grand final right there. So it makes sense that the two of them would come up against each other in the upper bracket final, but one of them will have to go down to the lower bracket at the end of this series. Very much looking forward to seeing how things round out. We're going to be kicking off, as we mentioned a couple times, on Mirage now. Freddie, give me some highlights here, right? Because we've only seen these two teams playing against each other once on Mirage in the last few months. So what are we kind of expecting to happen on this map?
I'm just going to shift the narrative slightly. I think we've been mostly focusing on the likes of Sangal. So I kind of want to talk about Nemiga while also bringing in Mirage naturally. Yesterday, on the whole of the series, they looked like the better team. They were the better team. And the only reason they lost was because Jota dropped a 2.0 rating or something like that in map 3, and they kind of messed up a double overtime loss on Vertigo. Even though we both have Sangal to win, there is a real possibility that if Nemiga are able to come out the gate swinging and not feel like the loss yesterday deceived them, they could come out the gate swinging and do really well Mirage, because Ancient is theirs. I do not see Sangal winning Ancient. So as we go into Mirage, I want to see Xanta and Risky Bob. I want to see that duo play well. I like that. If those two play well, the game's won realistically. And Khan's been stepping up his game with the AWPer. Normally quite a system AWPer, tries to cut off rotations, but he's been playing some really good CS recently. And Zway's just getting more and more comfortable. But here it is. Sam, we are in the ESL Challenger Season 48 upper bracket final. Whoever wins this will be the first team in the grand finals, but most importantly, qualify for ESL Pro League Season 21.
Very, very exciting. So many stakes on the line here, and two teams that are both chomping at the bit to make it happen for themselves. So here we are. We kick off map number 1. It is Mirage, and Khan taking a little bit of an aggressive stance into mid. This feels like something that was potentially read into, maybe planned and plotted for. A great little triangle stack there will net the first kill of the round. Nemiga now aware that there's a lot of presence in towards top mid, but they do manage to have their lurker taken out very early on. Sangal now going to have to pull back, retreat, maybe come up with a new plan. Youngster's already found his way in onto the B bomb site, however. Done a little bit of damage. Shots not quite connecting. A great wide swing from Risky. Nets him that kill. And for the last two players, somehow still managing to make miracles happen here. So much damage done. They're already in towards the site, taking a lot of that early space. Bomb hasn't managed to make its way in yet. Nice little flick of the wrist there. Brings it down to 2 versus 2. Still so much time available now. As the last two players from Nemiga, they realize they can't play too far detached from one another with HP so incredibly low, and yet they opt to split up. A risky move. Let's see if it does pay off. The first shot will connect beautifully onto Sammy. Nightcloud's the last one left. He's our player to watch. A 1v2 clutch is what it will take. With the bomb down, they've got the cash, but he wants so much more. Can't let it happen, however. Zwei with a great wide swing, and he will secure the first pistol round.
Oh, that was a tumultuous pistol round indeed. Risky Bob, I would say he has won that round, even though he gets 2 kills and isn't actually a part of that kind of final interactions. The fact that he just doesn't die. Youngster cannot kill him when he's on pillar. He allows for all the rotation to come through. Xanta was also on the flank, confirming the sound cues. And then a really nice cleanup from Xanta and Zwei. They always had a kit and smoke, so time wasn't really an issue. But Sangal, they will get the bomb down, so that does mean they're going to be purchasing up, and they're just swinging out middle. They're trying to get a little bit cheeky with it, and they will actually trade out because Sammy wall bangs with the scout, and Lear is brought down.
I wonder if we'll see a round 2 swing. A lot of damage done onto Xanta here, and the follow-up with the scout is clean. Now they can start making their way down through that mid connector. However, what they maybe haven't realized, cottoned onto, is that Nemiga are 3 strong here towards A. 2 M4s still in play. A lot of firepower to try to shut this down. And I do like what we're seeing from Saint here, right? A little bit of an exploratory mission over towards B. Drop a bit of util, make a bit of noise. See if you can pull something across. Unfortunately, Nemiga, they seem far too aware. Nice position here from Khan. He'll trade out, get a second as well. Next one to come through from Zwei. So now Sammy, who was trying to pull a bit of a rotation away with bomb lost in no man's land. He's been spotted out. Flash over the top. Catches him full on. Ooh, but he's given some time to recover. There's still a world. He's playing this patiently. He knows that they're split. Trying to set up a bit of a crossfire here, make things impossible, and yep, impossible it shall be. A second round on board for Nemiga.
Yeah, he unfortunately lost track of Khan in that 1 versus 2. That's a really unfortunate round, because if Sammy had just extended further up short, he would have realized it's completely clear. And Nemiga, it's a very... it is a bold maneuver, but it does work out in their favor, and that means they will go 2-0 up. And as I said, like, look, this is... What's really interesting is this game's basically being played on LAN. Like, because if we're calling... If we're calling their Res regional game a LAN game, well, then this is a LAN game, because they're playing from their prac rooms in Serbia. It's actually a very nice hotel. I was there for the HD War Show. That's a different sideline, but like this is a LAN game. In a really weird world, this is a LAN game, and I think Nemiga showed that they can change up the tempo and the pace mid-round and early round superbly yesterday, and they've come in here with a lot of ferocity, and they've taken an early lead. This is a really important gun round to see if Sangal can get the ball rolling now on their map pick.
Well, the good news for Nemiga is that Sangal not having won that second round means that their economy isn't busted like what we saw yesterday. So, unfortunately, yeah, Sangal not able to make a repeat of that almost miracle. They do have guns in hand now. Very similar to what we saw on our pistol round in terms of spread. A little bit of early utility. Oh no, there's no window smoke. So instantly Khan's able to get one. He'll get traded out though, trying to retreat away, and a nice little spray through the smoke from Sammy will shut him down, but Nemiga know exactly where Sangal are. Risky. Gotta risk it for the biscuits. He's playing distraction for Leah. However, they had a bit of a crossfire set up there, so it will trade. Advantage still on Nemiga's side, but they've had to spread themselves fairly thin now. They know that mid is relatively clear, and they've kept a bit of... Ooh, that's unfortunate. I was about to say, they've kept some reinforcements over towards A, but... Well, with Zwei going down there, that means that there are no reinforcements, and this is going to have to be a full-on retake scenario, provided Sangal actually get that bomb down. Xantar's up is still in full force, misses the shot, has to move away lest he be run down. But he's just trying to buy time for Risky Bob to flank all the way around. The question is, will it be expected? Xantar's peak is expected, unfortunately. The AWP is lost. Risky gets a trade-off, but his position is 100% known now. Jota, eyes on the prize. Bomb on his back. He can just slip away with 20 seconds still on the clock. This is the easiest rotation of his life. Risky Bob, after already having run all the way around the world to get ya, gonna have to run all the way back over towards B.
Yeah, you can see Risky Bob just has no idea where Jota can be. Even before the bomb goes down, he's still like, okay, is he going to wrap CT? Is he still going to play jungle? There's a million thoughts in his head right now. Can he grasp the right one? The bomb is planted for apartments. And that's where Jota resides. Risky Bob has a lot of utility, and he has a kit. Molotov clears out truck. Smoke on the bomb. Jota's got a grenade. Oh, what a time to have this nade. Risky Bob off the bomb. Chooses, and well, trying to get back on it. Is there enough time? The knife is out. We're swinging wildly, but the bomb explodes at the feet of Risky Bob and Sangal. It's their first round on the board.
I feel like Risky Bob probably knew there wasn't really time, but he was like, what am I going to do? Run out of the smoke and die anyway? So that was a bit unfortunate. There was a world in which that works out, but he steps away because of the HE, and I think that, you know, if he doesn't do that, he ends up dying anyway. All the information gets given over, the spray comes through, so it was a lose-lose situation either way. Sangal played that quite well, and they play that 1v1 beautifully. But unfortunately, with it being such an expensive round, despite the win, the buy is not nearly as robust as they would have liked. Oh, Leah gets double swung in underpass. So now, numbers advantage. Gun handed over to our T's. The position is known. Nice shot through the smoke onto Jota, and Jota off the board is never a good sign. Risky with a risky peek, and he does get punished for it.
Yeah, in the last round, Nemiga were very actively trying to fight for middle, and it actually worked out. But in this round, we kind of have a similar sentiment, and it not whatsoever. Even though Khan's AWP has sung, will it be enough? Zwei has taken a lot of liberty towards A. Previously, just chilling around Ticket, but now he's pushed top mid. Ooh, the timing maybe eluding him, as I think Xanta's going to be taking contact before Zwei can activate. Confirmation that it is this short play, but Khan is also here. The SMG reigns supreme. Zwei hasn't even entered the fray yet. Finally does for the final kill of the round. And Nemiga in the disadvantageous position. Once again, gamble stack towards the correct bomb site.
I will say the mid-rounding from Nemiga is great. And some of the calls that we've seen from them have just been phenomenal. Like the fact that they send Zwei all the way through the T spawn to get in behind our Ts and, you know, effectively encircle them completely. It's so risky, but it pans out perfectly. These are the kinds of fun adaptations that really do make it difficult for a team to get a read on what you're going to do next and try to respond to it. Now upgraded pistols for Sangal. The most they can really hope to accomplish in this one is going to be a little bit of damage, which will be really important because economically shambles. So if they can get a few free guns here, it could mean the difference between life and death.
Okay.
How have you gone and done that?
Yeah, we might be getting a little bit more than just a few guns here or there. We might be getting the whole round in itself, because one thing you got to remember is Jota is an FPL star. Xfloud played for Eternal Fire. You know, that means his aim must be good. Ledo looking to put an end to this, and he cannot. Falls to the hands of the pistols, and Xanta is so far away that as this bomb gets planted and as more rifles get collected, surely he doesn't try go for this. Surely he just brings the A1S into the next round, where realistically they're actually going to have to like force buy with no money. Like, it's not going to be great. And for Sangal, they're hooping, they're hollering, their practice room is electric right now because these Deagles have just graced the server.
It's a great round from Jota. The fact that he's able to get two there, and I believe one of them was the AWP as well. Like in fairly quick succession. So very, very impressive. Some nice shooting techs. And that helps them to secure a round they had probably no business winning whatsoever. And they recover the AWP. So that's a free boomstick in their back pocket. And unfortunately for Nemiga, like you said, right? So this is the second round that they've lost. And having lost so many players in that previous round, the reinvest is... You know, I don't want to say impossible, but it's certainly not good. We'll see if the MP9s can get a little bit of farming done, however. Might just be their ticket back into financial freedom. I do like the way that they're playing this mid, though. Taking so much early space and aggression and trying to force Sangal into uncomfortability. The problem is they've left apps free and clear. And with two players posturing that way, they can get in behind Nemiga. That's the freest B-bomb side of their lives.
It all just depends if they can, well, get up short, because there's a player still in the ladder room. Khan will be taking first contact, baiting risky bob in, but what actually happens is that the synchronization of those kills was Olympic standard. Give them the gold medal, because Khan and risky bob, within a split second, both full, neither can react off each other. And Sangal, that's a very easy round to be collecting, edging their way closer to Nemiga's scoreline.
Round very often a momentum shifter, particularly for your Ts. And it feels like that's exactly what Sangal have managed to accomplish here. Nice little pronged attack in towards B. But now, you see, the rough spot for Nemiga is obviously they were really banking on being able to farm up a bit of cash in this round with those close quarters holds with the MP9s, and unfortunately, not even a single kill to come through. So next round, less money than they would have wanted, which basically means hero rifle and some pistols. Very, very little that they can realistically do in this one. So we even out the scoreline here, and then we have 4 rounds left for Nemiga to try to mount some sort of a comeback. Unfortunately for them, Sangal have really kind of hit stride, it feels like, in these last few rounds.
They've just been controlling middle really well. Khan's been pretty good on the AWP today, to be honest, and I think it's a really interesting narrative of these teams. It actually tends to be the riflers who shine more than the AWPers. But as I mentioned, as we got into Mirage, like Khan's been playing some decent Counter-Strike recently. Unfortunately, he ain't going to be having the AWP in the next round, where they do have the rifles out. He's going to just be subdued to a rifle. But I think, unlike Sammy, he's really good on a rifle. I think he can really hold his weight with an A1S. And, well, maybe they win this round. Oh, God. Thankfully, LNZ can hold a spray, because those pistols, for a second, gave me some goosebumps. But one would hope that this round is cleaned up.
Yeah, I must admit, I can never get my spray to do that. I can barely get 1 kill when I spray, so... Oh, nice.
Wait, the rifle's on A, by the way.
Better do work then. Gets the first. Oh, Labors doesn't connect onto anything. Nemiga have certainly kept this more expensive than Sangal would have wanted. Ooh, Khan's picked up the AWP. Surely you just head out. No? Okay. Let's see if he can get at least 1 for not his money. Put Sangal's money where your mouth is.
I'm not a fan of him being here. Like, it actually doesn't make that much of a difference getting a kill here for the C side. It matters so much more saving the AWP. And luckily for my sanity, he is going to be saving that AWP. So the conversation I was just having about Khan being great on his AWP this game so far, but not having it in this round, is now completely futile. So thank you very much, sir. I guess you have an AWP for this round.
You know, Christmas came early. It's only meant to be in about 2 months' time, but
isn't that
you'll
crazy?
Take it where you can get it. That
can we
Christmas
actually hold on
in 2 months' time?
Christmas in 2 months. When? What? How? Why? When did that happen?
Yeah, I know. This year has literally
We're in the middle of October.
By. Yep.
Halloween's in like
Halloween.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
My outfit's.
I'm really sad because ESL Impact doesn't fall around Halloween this year. Last year we killed it. Yeah.
I think that was. I actually saw a screenshot recently, and I was like, that was maybe some of the most fun I've had on a broadcast.
For real, it was good times. No Halloween broadcasts this year, unfortunately.
I mean, we could just dress up anyways. It's almost Halloween.
Although you ever gone around a corner and suddenly there's someone there and you get the biggest jump scare of your life? CS is a horror game, so I feel like it fits. All right, full AXX. Really good flashbangs. My God, Risky with a beautiful little double there. There we go. Instantly traded out. Jota just getting in behind them for free and for gratis. Split retake here. AWP is heading up long. Oh, turns for the flash. Full blind! You what? That's actually illegal. I'm fairly certain that somewhere in the rules it says you may not get 2 kills while full blind.
Sorry, that Deagle round has set a precedent. What have Sangal eaten this morning? Because if everyone missed it, they absolutely destroyed Fluxo at the Res Regional Series. Like, it was not even a competitive map, Mirage being one of them. And, like, today, like, what is this? You know, LNZ hitting first bullet headshot, swinging an AWPer? Gimme. I want more of that injected into my veins.
Seems the one time we were on the same page about predictions. Oh, this lineup. It's just so tasty. Even when
Another
it is pistols. You know, like you take those.
I mean, I think this is I'll take the round to critique Nemiga on that previous, because Risky Bob does a lot of heavy lifting to basically set Zwei up for a multi-frag. Because I'm pretty sure Zwei just self-flashed himself and just swung. And that's why the two players coming out ramp were so blind, and why there was actually very poor scaling from Sangal originally. And then, I don't know what Zwei was doing. Like, he was on the balcony and then moves out. And then Jota just dives out of Palace and is able to eliminate. And it's like, Zwei wins that round for Nemiga if he gets one kill. And because he doesn't, we sit in a position now where we're 6-4 up. This was Nemiga winning 4 in a row, right? If I'm not mistaken. And since that Deagle
yes.
round lost, they have been completely vacant.
Well, Sangal have, at the very least, confirmed a tied-up half. Nemiga now have guns again, but the economic roller coaster is not favoring them by any means. So this is a pretty important round for them to win, just for the state of the half. And a nice little aggressive push down. Apps is going to net them that first kill. Xanta follows it up with a second. This is great. This is the kind of proactivity that they've needed. But we have seen them chalk a two-person lead before. So now it comes down to the patience. They still have really solid map control here, and there is a suspicion that there's going to be some presence towards mid, so they've got to keep holding that. My lord, if Sammy dies here, that could just be the end of everything.
Really interesting. X-Cloud boosted up. I was going to say, is he actually going to be spotted by Karmsdorf? Yeah, apparently he is. 45 seconds. You ever heard of a Sammy 1 versus 4?
Not a successful one.
Yo. Okay. This is... I was going to say, that would be like, you know, the Sangal Twitter manager, social media manager is ready to clip that. He's ready to be like, yeah, no. I have got a successful one. I have heard of it. But that's a great round from Nemiga, because it's counteracting what Sangal have been doing a lot. And it feels like this T-side has been throwing basically variations of a short split to some regard. And Nemiga have been attempting to fight mid unsuccessfully. That's why we saw ourselves in a 6-4 position. So instead, they change it up and charge the extremities. It's a lovely bait and switch with the Orphan rifle. Works perfectly, and then they're able to maintain their victory. And guess what? Does lightning strike twice for Khan? Apparently it does.
But does it, though? That's the question. Ooh, spots the first, spots the second. Nope, no, it does not. Xantares, however, will still be able to get one for himself, but unfortunately, Sangal read into that very, very nicely. And the first two players to hold the line will get taken down. But Leah keeping this very, very competitive. Back down to 3 versus 3. Threaded the needle, but Jota is expecting it, and as he pushes through the smoke, Jota shuts him down. Only 2 players left to mount this retake. Jota, he slips the needle himself right through the smoke, unguarded. Leah will get one, but now he's got a huge task ahead of him, and unfortunately, he cannot make it happen. We end the half at 7-5 in favor of Sangal.
A very decisive end to that first half for Sangal, winning 6 out of the previous 7 rounds, and Jota exhibiting perfectly why you should be so scared of Sangal. He's not waiting for you to allow him to go make those plays. He has the freedom to do whatever he wants, and he can be so dastardly with his headshots. Sangal on 7. This pistol round could set them sail to taking their map pick, but xFloud already gooshed at range.
A lot of information garnered quite early on. You know, realizing there's quite a heavy stack in towards mid. So those last 2 players just got to figure out where they are. And, well, with 2 players... What is that, Jota? What? That's not okay.
Okay, dude. Okay.
They just,
whatever, yeah.
They peek him 1 for 1. The next one comes through main and somehow he just knows. He just knows, Freddy.
He just, like, this is exactly, you know, like, I haven't even really made a point, but he's proved it type thing. Like, it's just the whole, like, Jota has so much freedom. And same with, like, xFloud. This whole team does have a lot of freedom about if they want to make these plays. And you have to have that system when you have someone like xFloud and Jota. And like, everyone, really. And he just goes up there. And even though Nemiga individually are also very powerful, Jota decides he wants to go and kill everybody. And he did that in the final round of the first half. And he does it in the first round of the second half. Now, Sangal, I think... the spirits are very high after a very difficult start. They were 1-4 down. They are now looking to be leading 9-5. But we got to remember, Ancient up next. I'm heavily favoring Nemiga on that map, regardless of what happens here.
Jota also just casually sitting on like 16 and 7. Just
yeah, like
as one does.
It's kind of just like, come on, dude.
How much more can he get done in this round? It is an anti-eco, right? So, and he's got the long angle, so it feels like he could just add an extra 3 to his kill count. Just, you know, oh, there's one. Okay, one more. Come on.
There we go.
Where's that 3? Let me be. Oh, let me be the predictor. No, Sammy snags it. How dare you? Oh well,
So
you know what? I'll
boring.
take 2. It's close enough.
You win some, you lose some. 2 kills on anti-eco, still winning. But, okay, Nemiga, what do we have to do? Because we're 5-9 down. We had a great start. Khan, you know, we were doing great in mid. We were giving no respect to Sangal. Xanta, Risky Bob, they've cooled off. Khan was having a pretty decent game, but, I don't know, hasn't had that much effect once they started losing. This is, I know Nemiga can now start setting the pace and the tone. Their T-sides are so good, but Sangal are already taking the fight to them. They're not going to be identifying anything towards A, but that's also massive information in itself, because it's going to allow for potentially extra rotations over towards B. But it looks like Nemiga are even faking me out.
You know you're doing an excellent fake when even the casters aren't entirely sure if
the
you're...
bomb was B ups with 4 players, and I was like, okay, we're going B, and they're like, no.
Oh no, we are. You know.
Okay, we are. Okay, yeah, it's just kind of reset, throw mid control,
Watch them turn around
come back,
again.
B split. No, this is a perfect round setup for a B split, unless you have xCloud and A ramp. Oh wait, xCloud's A ramp.
Oh,
surprise.
What a shot from Xanta. He has to be aware there's a second player here, but he also has to be aware of a reposition. Oh, beautiful. Just holds the attention. And that gives Leah the opportunity to push up short, get 2 kills. A great molly to block off the rotation. Jota, like, even so heavily under fire, literally, figuratively, still able to get his in the round. I think that's about the most we can expect from this one. It's a beautiful exec from Nemiga. And Sangal, they had a nice little flank setup, but it all happened so fast.
I think Leo was standing there like, guys, I'm up short and no one's contested me. Like, I don't really know how I've got here. But I was just talking about the Nemiga change of pace, and this is a round that exemplifies it perfectly. Before we get onto that, that's massive from Jota to get 2 more there because Nemiga still tight on economy, so that's actually really, I think, quite important 2 kills. But this is Lear just changing up the pace. He plays a very default round, but what's really cool is when they throw those that mid utility, kind of in the mid to late stage, noise gets cut all across the map. And Sangal don't contest mid, so Lear takes all of that liberty up short and plays not as the first point of contact, but not even really as the second, plays a little bit later, right? And it completely catches Sangal off guard. Really nice individual play from the IGL. He likes to call around himself, and that's a perfect exhibition of it. However, remember last round, Sangal took the fight to Nemiga. They'll do it again, but it's Xanta to once more get the opening kill of the round, this time without taking any damage.
Plays a nice little anti-flash there, which allows him to win out even after the swing. And the great thing about it being stairs is the player that's swinging has so many headers they need to deck. And so on the lower angle, he can win that one out. There is a trade-off, however. So that keeps things a little bit spicy. And again, Sangal taking this strong map control here. Jota gets a kill onto Khan in the smoke. Youngster, so cheeky, so in their face. However, this has all been a distraction. These are not the players you are looking for, Anakin. Because the bomb's being planted over towards B, but in a 2 versus 4,
what are we doing?
Seems difficult. Yeah,
okay, we're planning for market. We're planning for market. That makes more sense. I was like, Sway? Question mark? What a flashbang! What? Dude just self-flashes for himself. He goes, Jota, you can do heroics, but so can I. And now the youngster thrust into a 1 versus 3. That's one more. Galil almost claims one more sculpt, but youngster returns us to normality. And Sangal exhibiting their kind of liberties they can take by themselves, the freedom that the roster and the vision of this team provides. It allows them to go to double digits.
The X-Floud crouch peak goes hard. Goes a hell of a lot harder than it probably had any right to. But
and the dry re-swing underpass.
Oh, love that. You know, you love it when it works, and when it doesn't work, it's cause for ridicule. So, you know, it really is one of those double-edged sword type vibes. Jota on 22 and 9, just if anybody hadn't noticed.
Oh, okay. Okay, X-Clouds just stands his ground. Him and Jota. We were talking about this Turkish dastardly duo yesterday. We talked about them in the pre-game. But god damn it, these guys can pack a punch. And look at this, Jota, he's not done. Nemiga is saying, stop, please. You've done enough damage, but he continues with his relentless fury. And Nemiga, they have to take a tactical pause because they just don't know what hit them.
Also, it feels like they don't know what to do, right? They've only won 1 round in this entire half so far. It's just been the Sangal show from start to finish. And the problem that I feel Nemiga are really struggling with right now is the hyper-aggression that's coming out of Sangal, the proactivity, because there are moments where they win those duels, where they win those battles, and they can reclaim some of that space, but they almost never come through it entirely unscathed. And normally, trades favor your T's, but somehow in these retakes, even when there's a little bit of a deficit, Sangal managed to find themselves on top of a lot of those battles. And it's that kind of mid to late round where Nemiga are absolutely floundering.
Which is not normally where they flounder. Like, you kind of, I think it's a team that is praised for how they're able to change their pace around the map. On the T side, really just playing their game and forcing the opposition to abide by that. But when you've got Jota 23 and 10 and like even like everyone's hitting quite nice shots, I think for X-Cloud 16 and 10 doesn't even truly depict how well he's been playing for me. But we can bring up that conversation later and the player to watch whenever this map does end. But damn, this is not even a contendable Mirage after the first few rounds, because you look at Nemiga 6, you're like, oh, you know, 6 is all right. But then it was a 4-1 lead, and that was pretty much because of the pistol round win. So ever since then, it's been a very one-sided affair, a one-way street, and it's got the Turkish flag waving all over it. Oh, okay. Oh no, Ekfar got the kill. So again, the Turkish flag.
So do you want to hear a potentially hilarious little tidbit?
Hit me.
So you know how I was saying that every time these guys play against each other, it's back and forth, and even on the maps, it goes back and forth as who wins the map when. So this is the second time that they've played Mirage against one another. Do you know who won it the first time they played each other?
I would assume Nemiga from the
It was
setup.
Nemiga.
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
Great.
So that means Sangal win ancient?
Continues. I believe so. Yeah, Sangal win ancient. You know, we follow the trend.
Okay, I'm here for it. But we got to close out Mirage first. This can sometimes be the hardest thing. You've been playing great in this second half. Don't force the issue. Don't try and end things off too early. Xcloud's getting very agitated in middle, and well, just as I said, that's going to cost him his life. Risky Bob, that's the first kill in this second half. I was highlighting him as a kind of direct comparison to Xcloud. He's been overshone, but it looks like we are looking to survive for another day, unless Sammy has something to say about this trigger discipline imposed. Sammy almost triples down, almost rescues us from the jaws of defeat, but instead leaves Youngster in a very improbable 1 versus 3.
Nemiga saw that we were on map point and something activated. They'd also just taken that time out, so nice to see that they have far more effectively dealt with some of that crazy aggression in towards mid. Catching out Xcloud like that was a great way to just crack things open here. And Zwei has managed to survive literally by the skin of his teeth, which leaves them in a 3 versus 1 rather than a 2v1. And I think that if there's 2 players left alive, there's a world in which I actually think Youngster goes for it. But knowing that there's 3 left, not knowing that one of them is literally on 2 HP, no. So we'd rather hold on to the gun and live to fight another day.
Zwei's actually a really interesting character, just as you kind of mention him there, because I think he's recently turned 17, and previously being picked up to Nemiga, he only had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 best of 3s on HLTV for Vaseline Worms, which I will say is a great name. And he's currently competing.
Certainly a name.
Yeah, he's currently competing at his first LAM. He's won 2 tournaments with Nemiga. He's qualified for the RMRs, and now he's on the brink of a potential qualification to Pro League if they're able to turn their misfortunes all the way around. Like, this is a kid who has such a bright future, and you can already see a clear improvement in his statistics and his gameplay. And after this first LAN, like, you know, he's got the RMRs to look forward to. It'll be great to see if he can exhibit those powers on a broader scale, and potentially Pro League next season. But for now, we got to figure out who's the victor on Mirage. And Sammy with the AWP. Ooh, he's trying to channel that energy of Khan, because remember, Khan was getting aggressive on the extremities. Sammy does the same towards Palace in this round, but actually chooses to back off, and this might cost him his life, because look at this, Xanta. Okay. He initiates from Palace, but gives away his positioning. This round has just fallen apart for Nemiga.
Oh, and this allows Jota to get so cheeky. He's instantly traded out, but he knows that there's a second one there. So now there's realization that there is more than likely a split happening right now. So 2 players, or rather 3 over towards A, 1 towards B apps, and holding a somewhat of a, maybe not an off angle per se, but trying to reenact jump scares we spoke about earlier, as Khan is now walking with the bomb on his back. He knows to be cautious and weary, but does he check it? Does he check it properly? No, he does not. The bomb is lost. And now it's all down to Xanta. 20 seconds left. He's got to make it all the way to the other side of the map. And unfortunately, Sammy is not going to allow that to happen. 13-7. Sangal will take our very, very first map of the series. And in a fairly dominant fashion, considering that Nemiga only managed to pick up 2 rounds in the entirety of the second half.
And also won after the kind of whole 4-1 lead. Like, after the pistol round, the dust settles from those rounds that you claim because you win the pistol round, it was all Sangal. They were controlling the pace. They were getting uber aggressive in middle, in the extremities, maybe then falling back onto the extremities. It was really perfection in Counter-Strike. And this is, I think, maybe just exactly how Sangal play. You know, you've got LNZ potentially not at the top of the scoreboard, but he just gives his teammates so much space and freedom to excel, while also having a system in place that allows them to excel alongside that freedom. And then Jota, xFloud, Sammy, like the 3 stars you want to see succeed, elevate Sangal so high. And you can see the development from Sangal. They go from being an underdog, lower bracket kind of champion in the last ESL Challenger season to now be a team that is demanding respect in the upper bracket and looking to go into the grand finals as your favorite. And xFloud, our player to watch, exhibiting that perfectly.
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit about how he kind of lives in Jota's shadow to a certain extent. And on this map, certainly, Jota did kind of eclipse him a little bit. Yeah. But it's important to talk about the players that are still performing pretty consistently, even if they're not necessarily the top of the scoreboard every single time. And xFloud has been that consistent player, and that wasn't a bad performance by any measure. The big question is, what is going to happen on our next map of Ancient? It is Nemiga's map pick, and going by the trends, they should be the one to walk away with it. So, do they do that? Do they take us to map 3, or do Sangal confirm their victory at a 2-0? Find out after this break. Welcome back, everybody, to ESL Challenger League Season 48. We are right in the thick of playoffs. It's the upper bracket final between Nemiga and Sangal. And our first map was pretty one-sided, Freddie, with Sangal winning their map pick of Mirage.
Yes, a lot more convincing on their map pick than yesterday, because these two teams played on LAN, even though they're playing actually the exact same setup as they are right now. So I guess this is a LAN game as well, if you wish, as they're playing from hotel rooms. But yeah, they won their map pick of Vertigo yesterday in a double overtime. Not convincing whatsoever. But today on Mirage, well, it's the Jota story and it's his world, and I guess we're just all living in it. But as we go on to Ancient, I'm not sure if that narrative is going to sustain itself, and I really do think this map's going to the full three, even though that first map was so one-sided in favor of Sangal. I think Nemiga are just so damn good on Ancient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you consider that yesterday we saw it with Saw, they won also like 13-6, 13-7 on their map pick of Nuke, and then Sangal proceeded to run over them for the next two maps. So there is a world in which Nemiga just completely flipped the script on its head, and well, we've never seen these two teams not go the full distance in a best of three. So it would make for a very interesting change of pace. But I don't think that today is going to be the day that we see that happen. Very likely that Nemiga are going to be able to take their map pick here. I do want to see how Sangal bite back, though, because obviously they have beaten Nemiga on Ancient before, and fairly one-sided. You've had like a 13-8 in the past. You've had like a 13-6 previously. So they have had some pretty dominant wins on the map before. So as much as I think we're going map 3, I definitely see a world in which Sangal actually, you know, off the back of the great momentum that they've built over the last couple of days, taking this in a 2-0 fashion.
Yeah, this would be interesting. So yesterday they played Ancient against each other, and Xanta did his, I guess, best Jota impression, and almost hit a 2 HLTV rating, a 2.1 HLTV rating is now, and especially with the new rating system, that is kind of ever so important, or like it's ever more important, impressive. Got the words eventually, and I think we didn't see much of him, all things considered. Same with like Risky Bob, you know, the kind of two main factors for success for Nemiga simply didn't show up on Mirage. And I'd be putting good kind of proverbial money on the fact that they do show up here on Ancient. And especially we'll be seeing a lot of instances on the T side where Lear will be calling around himself a little bit. He activates in maybe the later stages of the round as potentially more of a lurk figure. And you see that a lot in IGLs on Ancient anyways, but it's something that Lear can succeed in doing, and we did see it succeed on Mirage for a round where they split short, and he was kind of the instrument of success coming later on in the round. Unfortunately, that success just had no longevity to it. It got shut down very quickly. So if Sangal can continue to shut down those sort of plays, well, they could be smiling. But ultimately, it does feel like we are going to be, from my perspective, going to a third map, because Nemiga are seriously good on Ancient. Like a slew of good results, even against Sangal yesterday. 3D Max in the upper bracket semis yesterday. Like that, there are so many notable teams on their record that they have succeeded in on Ancient.
I have also just gone ahead and checked, and I think this is the first time that I've seen a number this high, but they have played Ancient 32 times in the last 3 months.
Have you heard of Zero Tanastu?
Yeah.
Oh, go check their Anubis.
Oh boy. I mean, it's crazy. And okay, I mean, it's a insta pick, right? It's their map to play, and not a lot of teams are banning it. Ancient is pretty comfortable for most teams right now, so it does make sense that they'd be able to get it through so consistently. But to have played that many games in the last 3 months, and of course just to consistently be driving that home now, because the sample size is so big, it does bring their win rate down ever so slightly. But you bear in mind the caliber of teams that they've played this map against in those last 3 months. So a lot of data to try and draw on there, but it all comes down to exactly what you said, Freddie, which is that this team is very good on this map. So here we go, folks. Map number 2, Nemiga's map pick of Ancient. We're currently 1-0 in the series if you are just joining us. Sangal looking to take this in a 2-0 fashion, and Nemiga looking to force that third map.
Or will Sangal make Pro League in back-to-back settings from ESL Challenger League? They definitely proved a point in Malta last month or 2 months ago, beating FaZe in the opening stage. They took that opportunity and they really ran with it. But Khan says, we're on our map now. With the first opening kill, that should have been a second. But the dual Brezza range actually come out on top, and oh, I forgot. xFloud and Jota are on the server, and you can never have certainties when those two have dual Berettas. But a bit of overextension means that Nemiga are in a 3 versus 3 now, actually have sold a fake towards B because of the utility, and now are looking to scale towards A with the bomb being planted for absolute free.
And with Jota off the server in this particular round, their biggest concern is potentially going to be xFloud. And I like that they are kind of deathballing their way through this. You have pistols, you have power in numbers, and the fact that Leah is still holding over towards B means that it's essentially 2 3v1s, possibly shots coming through, trying to stick a great flash. Santa, beautiful double kill from him. Now xFloud left all on his lonesome, no kit in hand. He knows there's no way to try to get a defuse here, so it's just the attempt to get a couple of kills if he can, and well, so he can. That's about as much as he's going to get done. However, Nemiga take our pistol.
That's a very interesting decision for Sammy to put the smoke on Donut and not the bomb. I'm not too sure about that. I honestly think in the 3 versus 3, you firstly don't necessarily need to rush putting that smoke down, as they don't know where you are, and you could try and capitalize upon that, and also putting the smoke not on the bomb. Like, I don't know, you've got kit smoke, it feels like the most logical thing for me, but ultimately, it's Xanta, who I said, to be sure, he's going to be on the server, a lot more on Ancient than he was on Mirage, right there with a very important brace. He shows his cards very early on.
It's interesting from Sangal here. They opted to rather get a little bit more util rather than to go for, a bit more force into the actual weaponry. They tried to do a bit of a more aggressive play out of B, which really hasn't kind of worked out for them yet. There's still a chance here. I do like that they've gone on a bit of a flank here. Max in hand. Ooh, does not connect. Losing that weapon is unfortunate. These last 3 players, they've managed to salvage one of the M4s. And, well, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, very clean second round for the T side. Sangal are going to have a little bit more to play with in a round that commonly would just be a full eco. Maybe some damage. This is a awful position for Sammy to be in. And Lear shows him why, as he just runs around the corner of a Mac-10. Always nice to get an extra $600 in your back pocket and take away a potentially dangerous deagle from round 3. It's going to be the full eco, surrounded by LNZ's 5.7 armor and Jota with the A1S and head armor. He's the one player you want to be keeping a close eye on. But I've got a feeling they're going to boost him up somewhere, because Youngsters bought armor. I think they're going to boost long. So, because if Jota dies, then he drops the A1S to Youngster. And yeah, I know counter, guys.
I will say a flying Mac 10 is one of my favorite things to watch. So glad that that's how we ended that round. We start this round with a deagle shot from xFloud, though. Once again, just kind of asserting his dominance a little bit. Seen some great deagle maneuvering. Islandsy trying to hold close to the smoke here. Lost quite a bit of health. And instead of pushing, Nemiga opt to pull back a little bit. They've got the time. They've lost a player, so they don't want to kind of overplay their hand too heavily. So instead, we'll go for a little bit of mid-control here. The M4 is sitting in waiting, and a nice shot to come through to damage up Xanta, followed up by an HE, which means that, hang on a second, Sangal, in a round that they have no business winning, have somehow brought this to a 3 versus 2. But now all they have left in hand is the 1 M4 and the 2 USPs. Leah, 1 HP. The dream is dead. Khan with the triple spray. It's beautiful. Those last 2 headshots so unbelievably clean, and it feels like Sangal maybe got a little bit impatient at the end of that round.
I don't even know. That was ridiculous from Khan. Sure, it's against a USP and yeah, 2 USPs and 1 A1S, but that is still a fantastic exhibit of individual skill. And he has saved Nemiga, because that round, as you were alluding to, got incredibly dangerous. The bomb got dropped in elbow. Yeah, like, Khan didn't even have the bomb. But that round probably was winnable if Lear isn't able to get 2 kills in Donut like he was. It feels like there was a very lax response from LNZ with the 5-7 up close. And the Mac 10, because of that, is able to accumulate 2 kills before eventually being put down by Jota. And yeah, wow. That round should have been Sangal's, even though it was USP surrounding a single A1S and 1 5-7 with armor. Like, that was their round to be winning. And Khan, he saves a day and he puts an end to all of that madness. But you got to take away the positives for Sangal. Good damage. You're back on the rifles. There was never a round you were supposed to win. So there is obviously positives to take away from a situation like that.
I'm just going to point out something that I think is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, which is that only 4 players have kills.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
That's so weird. I genuinely don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, that's strange. I don't really know how to react off that.
I know. It's just such a weird thing. I suppose it is what it is. And I like... Okay, wait. Maybe there's a bug, because Xantares has got 2... I keep calling him Xantares, bro. Xanta has got 2 kills, so maybe there was like a...
Maybe he is Xantares in disguise.
Maybe. He's cosplaying, bro. It's Halloween. Okay.
I mean, he has
Bugs
the aim
aside.
of Xantares. Jota's like, no, I don't want to be playing against him. He's our final boss.
Okay, there you go. 5 players with kills. That is a crazy stat. Anyways, bugs aside, we move. Sangal now still able to scrape a buy through in this round. A little bit of that early utility here. A little bit of noise being made. Oh, Jota should have won that, but beautifully done by Zwei. Very low HP here, but numbers advantage. They'll take that every day of the week. And they don't have to commit to anything just yet, right? They get that first kill all the way over towards the A site. A little bit of noise being made in B. They've sold a fake. And unfortunately, now Sangal have to spread out to fill in the gaps that have been made by losing one of those players. And with Bomb moving over towards B, it should be a pretty easy take.
Wait, look at this though. This is a very peculiar position, but Zwei, he has the right idea. And now it's scary for Sangal. If there was ever maybe a possibility of a chance in this round, it was xFloud clearing Zwei and allowing for his rotations to capitalize upon maybe some confusion in the Nemiga camp. But instead, It's going to be an open A bomb site and a first, I would like to say, full gun round. Won out by Nemiga in a very easy manner. They're going to go 4-0. We finally have more players on the kill feed now. Zwei up there with 2 kills in this round. Can we survive for Sangal? Can we save? Youngster, he's also on the board. He's going to be saying, yes, we can save. This is actually quite important for Sangal to keep all these players alive. And as I say that, Khan snatches away his opposition, his opposing AWP. And it's going to be Nemiga going 4-0. Is the AWP savable? I don't think so. That's a big deficit for Sangal, as they're going into a round where it's going to be a half buy, force buy, whatever. They would have loved to have the AWP, but they're still going to actually purchase around the 2 A1Ss or AK and A1S regardless. Yeah, good time
tactical
for a pause.
timeout.
Good time.
So much so, I believe that. I mean, we did see on Mirage, this was when Sangal started coming back into it, right? Round 5. Nemiga had taken 4 rounds in a row, and then suddenly 6 round back to back to back for Sangal. So maybe we see something similar here. And in that particular instance, if I remember correctly, they were on somewhat of an eco, because I still remember the Deagles just went absolutely crazy. This time around, they've actually got some weapons, some like real big guns. So hopefully we see that resurgence come through here. For Nemiga, I mean, they've just been looking so dominant in all of these rounds. They come through with so many players still left alive. A lot of those rounds have been really clean. And yet, I feel like the economy could be a little bit more robust. They are still maybe losing a few more players than they'd like. Oh, we're going for an aggressive mid push here. Very similar to what we saw on Mirage. Take that space early on. Get proactive. Jota with the first to get traded. Zwei took him a while to wake up, but now he is wide awake. Rise and shine. Smell the coffee. Xanto follows it up with one of his own. And youngsters left to either 1v3 or get the hell out.
That felt really easy for Nemiga because they don't even throw like masses of players towards middle. The main area that they were trying to control was lane. And that also works out in their favor because LNZ tries to encroach down with Youngster and they lose 1 because of that. Sangal, just a very poor mid take. There was, it felt like loads of space for Zwei to work around there. Like, was there no elbow smoke? The Molotovs gave him, like, you know, they didn't cover everything. It felt like he had a lot of free range to get a double there in a position realistically no one should be multi-fragging. So it's really nice from Zwei. That's 2 back-to-back really big rounds for him. Even though he gets 2 kills, you know, it's not a quad or a triple or whatever. Like, those are still massive amount of impact for the 17-year-old.
I really liked what Sangal did there. As in the attempt, right? It's one of those I saw the vision moments. It really felt like they were trying to kind of catch Nemiga off guard a little bit. And as I said, it was something that we saw quite a bit from them on Mirage as well, taking a lot of kind of early map control. And sometimes it was the extremity, sometimes it was towards mid, but it was one of the things that was netting them so many rounds so consistently. This time around, however, Nemiga maybe anticipating it, maybe just that much more ready. But it was a really great round from Xanta and Zwei. Mostly Zwei, but, you know, Xanta was there. Yeah. He did things.
It was a good cleanup from the players in lane, reacting off middle and also holding for the extremity pushes, realizing that that's going to come through because of their failure in middle. And now, change up. Applying pressure towards lane. Liz got the lurk smoke down on B. He's got a cave smoke. But ultimately, it's a play towards A. Jota gets hit by the AWP. It's not a lethal blow. He survives on 45 HP, and now he will have some support. It looks like Nemiga, as of now, want to continue and want to commit. CT smoke down, that's going to block off Sammy, but 4 players are going to be streaming out of Donut, and I said Sammy was blocked off. There is no smoke. He had full vision, and look, there's the numbers here for Sangal, but somehow it's not going in their favor. LNZ, the captain, he's yet to post anything on the board. A 1 versus 3 would truly be a dramatic way to enter into this server, but he's only able to cross the first hurdle. And Nemiga, even though they walk into the belly of the beast, they fight their way through to the other side.
Really solid util usage from Nemiga here. Obviously, they had such a huge advantage coming in with just how much money they had, so they could buy so much util. Great mollies to force people out of position, great smokes to deny some of those sight lines, and of course in a little, somewhat of an anti-eco, anti-force buy, anti-half buy thing, they still managed to make it work. I will say, when they played up against each other yesterday, the first half was 7-5 with Nemiga winning the half. So there is a world where Sangal can turn this around, but the fact that they've played it so recently means it's still so fresh in Nemiga's minds exactly how Sangal would have played it and what they need to do to change things up. A nice hold from Jota there, catches Xanta as he attempts to rush on through. Okay. Great re-swing from xFloud as well. Maybe Nemiga getting a little bit too over-eager there. Maybe overextending ever so slightly as they try to make their way into Jaguar. With the 2-player advantage now for Sangal, this could be the beginning of the turnaround. It's all about the mid to late game for Nemiga, though. We kind of or maybe not complimented, we chastised them a little bit on Mirage for how weak it had seemed there. Now this is the first round where they'll be really tested on Ancient. How will their mid to late look this time?
2 players are low. It's Youngster and xFloud. Khan seeing if he can entry onto this B bomb site. But instead, dropping utility to allow for his riflers to cross. Bomb's going to be planted. There's no utility to deny. Sammy's the only one with anything, a smoke and a nade, and Jota, even though he's on low HP, he still will continue to light up bodies, put names down, and Sangal finally onto the board. First round on the CT side, and they do so very cleanly after a really good start from xFloud and Jota towards middle.
And of course, it had to be xFloud and Jota, right? Like, if there was going to be anyone, or any duo, any combination of players, it would have to be those 2. But unfortunately, one kind of spark of brilliance isn't going to be enough to keep that momentum going, right? We need to really see a bit more of a pickup. We kind of spoke about LNZ getting his first kill a couple of rounds back. Sammy's also kind of trailing behind. And the reason I pointed out for Sangal specifically is because they are the team losing. Nemiga has their own hobble at the moment, but it hasn't deterred them from getting a massive lead.
Okay, no more kerfuffles in middle. We're not going to allow players just to run up towards heaven like we did in the previous. Bit of miscommunication from Nemiga on round 7. No presence in middle. Allowed for Jota and xFloud to exploit lane. But not today. However, speaking of middle, we're going to be trying to take it a little bit more belated. Issue is, Nemiga seem very wary of this being the case. 1-for-1 as of now. Risky Bob, though, finally gets himself on the server. Finally announces himself. And with Youngster identified towards the B bomb site in that 4 versus 1, they're going to set sail and change their sights towards A, where it is completely barren.
Sangal kind of consistently losing out these mid battles. really kind of setting them up for failure. Needs to be that a little bit cleaner. And unfortunately, Nemiga just consistently on top of that. Great crossfires, pretty consistently set up for themselves. Able to deal with a lot of that utility quite easily. They don't allow themselves to get overly aggressive and get caught out by Sangal's utility. So invariably, they're not as hampered when the push does come in. And they're able to bite back. And I think that this is one of those things I said, you know, it's still kind of fresh in Nemiga's mind, having played them just yesterday. So these are the kinds of things that they're aware of and that they've been told, okay, keep an eye out for this. Make sure that you are aware that this is something that's likely to be happening. This time around, again, they leave mid relatively unguarded. And this time, Sangal actually take that mid control, but it's a full hit in towards this B site. And Nemiga are borderline with control here. There you go, Sangal's made his way all the way into the CT spawn, managing to get one. Trades are coming out, but the rotations from Sangal are just taking too long. The peaks are 1 for 1, and Risky Bob has certainly carved his name into this round, at least. Bomb's still yet to be planted, and it's xFloud who's still alive. So this is certainly recoverable.
This is very winnable, isn't it? But with the cutting of the noise, xFloud now has a big void of information. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know if they've rotated towards A, if they're still on B. But now he'll get the confirmation just as he was edging his way towards the other bomb site, towards lane. Quick on the scene. He's expected, though. Risky Bob. Oh, head decapitated. Khan holding the angle with the AWP. Will be flashed off, but xFloud not activating off his utility. Jiggle straight into the AWP. And it's Risky Bob. His efforts not in vain. 3 kills for him. And Nemiga, they just can't stop winning right now on Ancient.
It's actually quite devastating because that flash obviously would have been fabulous.
Yep.
But xFloud, he doesn't know. He doesn't have caster vision. There's so many places where their last player could be posted up. Made the wrong decision in the moment, but did the best that he could with what he had. Unfortunately, that means that we are now on round 10. 3 rounds left in the half. Nemiga sitting pretty. Sangal, no money left. Bought into a little bit, a couple of SMGs here to try to take them off over the finish line. But unfortunately, no results to come of it. Jota with the MP9, no one's going anywhere near him. Which means that, well, this should be another pretty free and clear round for Nemiga. They just wait for some of that util to clear out. Sangal have got none left. So you just bide your time ever so slightly. And now it doesn't matter what they do or where they go. Their advantage is clear.
You can see there's always a clear plan on the T side for Nemiga, and in the previous round I think that was very obvious with the fact that they've conditioned with the lurk utility on the B bomb side multiple rounds. I think we're kind of like up to 5 rounds where they use that lurk smoke and mollo on default, but without actually doing anything actively with it. But obviously, in the previous round, we had Santa just charging up and taking loads of space. And that's because Sangal were just simply not anticipating someone to actually use it. They were so used to just seeing the smoke and being like, well, no one's going to do anything with it. And in the meantime, their focus is heightened towards middle, and that's why it was such a perfect time for Nemiga to throw out a play like that, because they know Sangal are being really aggy towards mid and trying to retake that control, where they utilize their conditioning. And even though Xanta got 1 kill in round 9, and it was ultimately kind of the Risky Bob show with his triple and the Khan 1 versus 1 at the end, he creates an enormous amount of space for his side. And it feels like Lear has just been calling a perfect T side so far. And that is very much emulated by the scoreline. 9-1. Sangal, can they put a stop to any of this bleeding? Or is this just going to be a dominant first half and I would assume a dominant second map?
It's great that Risky Bob has kind of started to wake up a little bit here in the last 2 or 3 rounds. He's effectively caught up to the rest of the team. Whereas, you know, for Sangal, Unfortunately, there's too much reliance on xFloud and Jota so far in this map. The other players just not really having as much impact as Sangal would like. You can unfortunately pinpoint a lot on that. Jota's going for a bit of aggression. Yeah, we've seen him do this before. Risky. He's feeling it now. Took him a little while to warm up, but he is ready. He is hot to trot. Now Sammy flashed off. Doesn't hit the shot. Ooh, hits the repeat, however. Dodges that flash. Not able to connect onto the second. He's being flanked around on. It's going to be Zway to take him out. The push through into mid, however, delivers massively. 3 versus 2 here. Do they expect that player? Yes, they do. It's LNZ who'll get himself yet another kill. And now Risky Bob is the last one left alive. 1 kill already in this round. He makes it a second. How much more can he get done? 1 versus 3. Ooh, the HE. It doesn't quite finish him off. So he's still alive and swinging in this round. He doesn't have control of the bomb, however. And time is not on his side. The crossfire setup here is perfect. Sangal don't even have to peek if they don't want to. Risky Bob's position is confirmed now. And he's just going to back the hell out. He doesn't have time. Youngster going to look to catch him. Maybe get that final kill and put the nail in the kind of some of their cash. But not to be allowed. A great resurgence from Sangal. And again, I love that mid round. I love the idea to push into mid when Nemiga had pushed through into Donut. It works out beautifully.
Well, the reason why it works out so beautifully is because of Sammy. He only gets 1 kill in that round, but damn, does that dude survive? And Sangal, they have to make a reaction. They have to make a very fast rotation. And you have LNZ spearheading this charge. He was kind of like a first responder, being like, Sammy, I got you, dude, don't worry. And he just survives for so long. And on one hand, you could be critical being like, he only gets 1 kill. You know, he probably should have at least doubled down there. But he just doesn't die. And he allows for the rifles to come and aid him. Really nice from the AWPer. But LNZ, he's not been having the greatest of games. And Xanta, for sure, has been a little pocket rocket for Nemiga when needed. And that double, that triple, oh, it's salacious. Any more for any more? Finally gets put down. And we're in a 2 versus 2? How has this happened now?
xFloud. xFloud does what he does best. Nice little 2-piece for him just to even things out a little bit more. But now he's getting aggressive. No. Okay. I thought he might push out in towards a long. Instead, he wraps around towards mid. He has been heard. The shot doesn't connect. Oh, that is outrageous. Khan's going to have to reposition, but Risky in a beautiful spot there. Catches xFloud off guard. They knew he was there. So they've brought it back down to a 2 versus 1. And Sammy, who has not quite been on his game so far this map, will have to mount a 1 versus 2. A kit is available. He has a smoke as well, but the AWP slow peeks him, shuts him down, and Nemiga will hit 10 rounds, double digits as we head into the half.
Map 3 is looming. Nemiga show Sangal who is boss on Ancient once more. They did it yesterday, and they're doing it today with even more ferocity. A 10-2 half, really setting the tone for not only this second half, but what we could be seeing on Anubis. And for Sangal, it's really just been a non-starter.
Yeah, the 2 rounds that they did manage to win were off the back of a couple of heroics, which is never the way that you want to be winning rounds. But given the position that they were in, it was kind of a we'll take what we can get situation. Now we swap sides and we see, well, can they kind of turn things around for themselves? They had a 100% pistol win rate yesterday. Today, however, they have not had as much success, unfortunately. We'll see if they can get themselves a much-needed pistol, because this is the bare minimum that they need to keep themselves alive in this match. And Youngster will kick it off beautifully, followed up by xCloud. And the last 3 players from Nemiga now have to push through this smoke or wrap around. Okay, I don't hate this. They've got a little bit of time to work with here, but not much. Oh, no. Surely this is not a wraparound. I mean, that would take them way too long to get anywhere. They're just holding onto the armor, I guess.
I think, yeah, this is, what's the phrase? No point fighting a losing cause? Something along those lines. It's not the most ideal situation when you know you have to be saving armor. The bomb explosion also gives a little bit of extra economy to the T side. That's always maybe a little nitbit that some teams comment upon. And, well, they won't even save Khan's armor at all, and Risky Bob will have to repurchase all his armor if he wants to buy head armor, because he got tagged at the end there. So he's just going to be MP9, no head armor with utility, and it means the Mac 10s are a little bit more danger when playing against him. Okay, Sangal, they win the pistol round. Does this mean anything? I don't think so. Like, they might make it look a little bit more contendable. It's going to take a long time for me to believe in a potential comeback, in a potential 2-0. It's going to take me a long time. So for now, I'm just taking each round as it comes, but I'm still thinking, okay, Anubis is going to be on the cards. It just depends how long it takes Nemiga to maybe get on maybe just the first gun round, right? Like, because Sangal might win this, they might win the anti-eco. You go to 5, and it's like, oh, you know, because they've actually got more rounds in this half than the first already. But let's wait for the rifles. Or maybe let's just do it here, because both the masses have already mowed down a killer piece.
I mean, winning round 2 after losing the pistol, it has become somewhat of a trend in recent times. And I don't just mean yesterday, like just in general, right? Like I can meme about yesterday because that was hilarious. But it's certainly something that has been happening a lot more frequently. So,
oh my god, what a good smoke.
There is a world. Smoked off. Sangal now have to kind of pause it a little. They can smoke. They can flash themselves out of it, but it might be a little bit risky. So instead, they're just going to give it a moment. Throw out a fake smoke over towards A. See if they can bait out any attention. Oh, there's that jump scare. But unfortunately, it's Leah who comes out second best. That, of course, gives the information over. Yeah, there's a smoke on A, but I just died looking at 3 people. So bomb's going to get planted. And it's back to a winnable situation for Sangal.
It's a 1 round. Nemiga are not going to go for this. They're going to fully save into the subsequent eco and have 3 rifles to work with. It's a really nice position to be playing from. And it's an unfortunate gamble stack. I really thought that they were going to rotate over towards B there, because they had both Risky Bob and Khan deep in A main, clearing out all that space. But I guess they just had no control towards middle. They didn't know if Sangal were going to continue to commit towards Donut potentially. and hoping that that one smoke from Lear actually forces Sangal away, thinking, you know, we can't weigh out the smoke. Because, you know, the smoke did fade with 10 seconds remaining. If there were more players there, that's round over for Sangal. But luckily for them, they cut noise. And Nemiga, even though they do reclaim map control, still cautious of a mid-split to some degree. So because of that, Sangal actually come away with the round seemingly quite cleanly after losing those first 2 opening picks. But this round, dangerous. Even though there's not much of an investment into it, those save rifles and then armor on Zwei and Lear can be really devastating.
Nice opener here from xCloud.
Oh my god!
There's no shot, bro. He just dry swings that and gets 2. And now that puts Nemiga in a really comfortable spot. Say comfortable. They're still at a massive distance. No, they're not. They're not. It's 3v1. Sammy has to somehow clutch up. Much like what we saw in the last round of that previous half. Sammy now 1 versus 3. Bomb on his back. No real information. He knows that there's at least 1 over towards B because, well, that's where the majority of his team just died. And he knows that there's 1 on A. What he doesn't know is that Zwei is, like, leaving. He's moonwalking out of there. The A side is free and clear. He could go for a plant here if he's feeling brave, and he should at least get that. No. Zwei has gone on an exploratory mission. He now knows there's nothing in mid.
What do Nemiga think is going on? Okay. I mean, I think we've cleared everything but the A bomb site. Surely we've cottoned on to the fact now that he's probably somewhere on A. Okay, now we definitely know he's on A. Yeah, really good headshot from Zwei. Is anyone going to save an AK? Yes, unfortunately not Lear, who was trying to pick up that final AK. But as I mentioned, it's only a matter of time until we start seeing Nemiga put rounds on the board in the second half. It comes at a time that I wouldn't have anticipated, and from a player that I also wouldn't have expected. We had 3 rifles saved into this round, and the P250 and Deagle do more damage than the rifles. Very impressive from Lear and Zwei, and now Sangal facing the 11th hour, facing Doomsday, as Nemiga have just been patrolling middle with a very keen eye, the kings of middle, you could say, on both of the halves. And even towards lane, Lear sets down his dominance.
Unfortunately, there wasn't too much to expect from Sangal in this one. Maybe to keep it expensive, like we saw from Nemiga in the previous, but Nemiga, from start to finish, just so in control. xCloud has done
1v4?
Ridiculous things once again. Oh, he has to get off as Khan peeks out, and that gives Risky Bob the information. He can spam through the wood, and it's xCloud out, down for the count. And we are on map point for Nemiga. And really, it's devastating, I feel like, for Sangal, how many rounds have felt within a spitting distance of recovery, and yet, unfortunately, just not able to secure it.
Close but no cigar, one would say. This game has not been close but no cigar. It's just been no cigar. Nemiga 12-4 up is playing to the highest of degrees. Consistency across the board. Unrivaled currently. And this attempt to de-execute, this could be their downfall. Only 2 players here, but the counter utility is sublime. Lear, though, does lose his brother in arms, and that allows Sangal to propel themselves through the smokes, and they actually get the entries. 2 versus 4 for Nemiga to try and close out Ancient, but today will not be the day, and Sangal live to die another day.
Bro, how Sangal won that with 4 players left alive? Like, I can see them winning the round. That's fair enough, right? Like, you've got some pretty potent weaponry there. You get up close and personal, fine. But to do it with 4 players surviving is a little bit outrageous. But we take those. Now Nemiga's cash is busted. but they're still able to bring out an AWP amongst the mess. We have to see some serious results with that as a chunky nade. The nades down mid that have just chipped away at Sangal's HP have been devastating. And finally, we'll see the first kill to come through off the back of that MP9. If this is the round that Nemiga do it, I think for Sangal, that is a potential mental breaker. Khan swings around the corner, wins the AWP battle. Instantly re-scopes in. Oh, he's flashed off. He has to pull away. Oh, but Zwei is there to back him up. So regardless, you got a couple of players here to try to hold this. And the bomb is now sitting outside Red Room. And yeah, I think backing away is the best option for them here. However, they're going to be backing straight into the sightlines of Risky Bob. Does he swing this?
It's a 5-7, he can't.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, if it's me, I'd do it, but that's just because I'm bad.
This is perfect, though. 2 players in cave. They're never going to speculate. X-Cloud, dead man walking. Yep, there you go. MP9 excels at close range. Molotov missed for the site, so we're going to have Xanta being able to come out for free. And in the meantime, Zwei, Hellfire initiates from long. LNZ, the captain, a 1 versus 5. It's quite a nice shot onto Xanta. He's run out of bullets, forced to reload, and walks straight into the welcoming arms of Khan. 13-5. That is how you come back into a series.
And you know what? The trend continues. Sangal won this map yesterday. It was Nemiga's turn to come out on top with the win here. So very, very well done to Nemiga. They do not allow this to go 2-0. They win this in a pretty damn dominant fashion. It was the map that we thought that they were going to come out on top of. It was their pick, and it was certainly a lot more one-sided than I had expected, given the fact that Sangal have actually won this in the past. So there's a lot of question marks as we head into our very last map coming up shortly, and I think that, you know, we've seen quite a few trends across both of these 2 maps, some of which have been a little on their heads. I was talking about Nemiga's mid to late rounding that was really suffering on Mirage, and here on Ancient, their mid to late rounding looked a lot better, but let's face it, the early round was so strong from them that they were very seldom in a position where they needed to come back in the mid to late round.
Yeah, and our player to watch, X-Cloud, he actually did pretty well. Him and Jota were still performing decently towards middle, but I think joining in with some of the points we made during the broadcast itself, Sangal, it felt like a 2-pony show, whereas you had Nemiga, everyone was firing on all cylinders, and especially Sammy is a player that you have to critique. Very reminiscent performances of, I don't know, like at EPL, where he was really quite poor, and there's a lot of critique about him, and normally the critique of Sangal is, what is their skill ceiling? With the fact that sometimes it can just be the X-Cloud on Jota show, and a map like that exhibits it perfectly of when they're not just storming ahead, how good actually are Sangal.
Yeah, and you talk about everyone on Nemiga firing on full cylinders. It's actually quite funny that Risky Bob, he went 0 and I believe 6 at the start of the map. And by the end of it, he was like one of the top fraggers for his team. Yeah. So there you go. Talk about a comeback. All right, speaking of comebacks, which one of our teams will come back into the lead as we head into our second map, or rather third map? But before we do that, a quick break. And when we return, it's time for Anubis. Welcome back, everybody, to ESL Challenger League Season 48 European Edition. We are right at the finish line of our upper bracket final between Sangal and Nemiga. Map 1, fairly one-sided. Sangal come through their map pick at a 13-7. Map 2, pretty dominant resurgence from Nemiga on their own map of Ancient to come out 13-5 on top. And so far, the trend of going back and forth between these two teams continues. Now we are yet to find out, will that happen once again on Anubis? Sangal won it yesterday, and they took that series 2-1. Today, can Nemiga take that map in return and make it a 2-1 victory, Freddie? What are you thinking?
If they can continue playing like they did on Ancient, sky's the limit. Honestly, they got away very unscathed. Like, there was a little bit of resistance on Mirage from Nemiga at least, but on Ancient, it felt like very much a one-way street. Sangal never had a look in from the beginning to the end. It was all Nemiga, and even though Sangal won a pistol round at the end, it was already 10-2. The damage had already been done, and we just simply didn't see the individual step up outside of a few moments from Jota and Xflower. It was a real team effort from Nemiga, and that's realistically, that is the scariest thing to be facing. Not when one player is playing out of his mind and takes control, because that's quite inconsistent, but when every single player is doing their job, how can you stop that?
And for those that are interested, I'm just going to give a quick update on what's going on our B and C streams, because there are some great matches going on there. Currently, Saw and 9 Pandas are on map 2. Map 1 was a win on Dust 2, 13-6. Nuke is actually the decider, so an interesting one there from Saw. We'll see how that pans out later on. And over in 3D Max versus Sashi, that has gone 1-1. They've also had a 13-5 and a 13-7 scoreline. They're heading to Ancient for their decider. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty close affair across the board here. Very, very exciting here in Season 48. But as mentioned, we now head into map number 3. It is Anubis for our upper bracket final. And these two teams, as mentioned, they played on it yesterday. And it was a pretty one-sided victory at a 13-5 in favor of Sangal. But I said something very similar when we spoke about Ancient. I was like, oh, well, Sangal have won it in the past at like a 13-7 or whatever it was. So is there a world where Sangal come back from what could perhaps be a bit of a broken mental for this third map?
It's going to be very interesting because Sangal also beat Saw yesterday on this map. They've been pretty unbeatable across both lands and online with 13-2 victory over FaZe. It is very certain to say that this is a good map for Sangal. But what was certainly aided yesterday was Jota going 22-11. He left everyone else, including his teammates, in the dust, and Sammy also did step up a little bit. So that brings on back the narrative of, can we just rely on the individuals? Can Jota replicate his form from Mirage? And will that be able to book his team a spot at Pro League? And also the criticism of, I don't know why I said that so weirdly. I kind of formed critique and criticism into one word, but point stands of Sammy. He had a not very good second map. Sometimes the lowest points of a team can drag you down, and Sammy sometimes is that low point. It's like, what is the height that this team can match? Well, Sammy is an AWPer that struggles to find impact in this roster, tends to go for later plays and catch off rotations, which is not always super effective, and thus we do see a little bit of reliance on the likes of Jota and Xflower. But if Jota can drop those crazy statistics and basically shut down Xanta and Risky Bob, then boom, they're through to ESL Pro League Season 21. They will be replicating their success from last season, not as a Cinderella one, not as a crazy lower bracket run that no one anticipated, but as the favorites in this whole tournament. Or will Nemiga complete the comeback, overcome their demons, and they will be the first team in the grand finals? We will find all of this out on Anubis. It's on a cider map in a banger of a series so far.
We start things off with Jota getting some early information here. And Jota really has been kind of the MVP of this series so far. Sitting at 37 and 28 over the last couple of maps. So he's had a star-studded performance. For now, he'll get that early info and instantly fall back. I do like that Nemiga are actually opting to go for a pretty solid default here, even in a pistol round. Try to get an early pick-off if you can. Get some of that early info. They've realized maybe B has a little bit more fortitude, while A slightly less guarded. The bomb's going to start to make its way over. They still got 2 positioned towards B to potentially cut off rotations, which could be a huge deciding factor. This first encounter is what will determine it. Xcloud peeks out, spots out 2. He's forced off of the angle, fires through the smoke, and actually manages to take out Xanta. And that's going to put Nemiga in an uncomfortable spot. Khan on sticking out the other side of the pillar. He's instantly taken off of the board, and Nemiga now losing players all across the map as Sammy wants to, you know, reinvent himself after that last map. And that is a clean and, well, almost flawless pistol for Sangal.
Good enough, right? You lose one player,
Yeah.
Samy's on the board, Xcloud, happy days, right? And so far, we're keeping the trend very similar from yesterday. Sangal started on the CT side. They won the pistol round, lost the conversion. That was because the bomb went down. Nemiga obviously reinvested. And Sangal actually were looking really good on the CT side yesterday. They went 7-5 up, going to the half, and then only, if I'm not mistaken, didn't drop a single round on their T side. So far, they are doing everything correct. They're going along the theme exactly how you'd like it to, if you're a Sangal fan. But for Nemiga, no alarm bells raised whatsoever, because you lose pistol, it is what it is, because you've got the gun rounds next, and everyone knows Anubis can be very difficult as a CT side. So we're keeping a close eye on Nemiga to see if they can pass the 5-round threshold and actually go onto their CT side in the lead.
Great flash. Yep, there you
back.
go. That's
He heard
what you
me.
want.
He heard me.
This is exactly what you want from an anti-eco, right? Like, obviously, you don't put too much stock into it, but to come through it cleanly, decisively, make sure that Nemiga cannot get anything done, no bomb planted, nothing out of the ordinary. Sangal, particularly on their CT side, this is how those rounds need to be looking. And they need to be pulling in as many of them as humanly possible so that they've got that little bit of buffer to work with when they head into the second half. So they're going to be happy with how that one went. No reinvest necessary. But as you mentioned, this is when Nemiga get guns in their hands. And on that T side, where the economy is that little bit more forgiving, even without, I mean, no bomb plant 2 rounds in a row is pretty crippling. And Jota, Sangal's mid presence has just been unfair. Map after map. It didn't really work out for them on Ancient, but here on Anubis, a great opening kill. He falls back, and that will give them that numbers advantage.
Yeah, and they start to spread out a little bit. Nemiga prodding towards A. They're going to be forced away from a Molotov. I don't know if they'd want to end here just yet, because they've still got Lear over on the B extremity. The IGL likes to call him around himself sometimes, so he could try and beckon his teammates over, but unfortunately, they are losing their livelihoods towards A main. There are some trades, but ultimately very ineffective. And Sangal, they are so acutely aware that there could be that possibility of a lag, and that will pay dividends as they go 3-0 early on their CT side.
And this is the first time that Sangal are starting a map on the front foot. Because on both Mirage and on Ancient, we saw Nemiga taking a 4-round lead. Then round 5 on Mirage was when Sangal kind of retook control and pushed forward towards a win. But on Ancient, they could never find that footing again. So having this little bit of a buffer for themselves, having that bit of wiggle room, denying a plant 3 rounds in a row, it gives them so much. But now LNZ already taken off the board, but he's just an info play. He's the sacrificial lamb for Jota, who's able to peek through, get that first kill, and then slip away. Leaving Nemiga now wondering what can they do, and it's given Sammy the space to lurk out towards top mid, get a follow-up kill, and again, back away. So low in HP, but he's done his job. And now as the Tech 9s chase him down, the HE will whittle their health away, and that will allow Jota to reposition, get to mid, and follow it up. This could have been a devastating round with those Tech 9s, but it's a 4th consecutive round with no bomb planted.
So really cool. when LNZ died, obviously he dropped the A1S. I think xCloud dropped a nade, or was it someone dropped a nade? Yeah, I think it was maybe Jota dropped a grenade and it actually blew away the A1S onto the bomb site. So ultimately, it wasn't able to be picked up. And I was also just thinking, do you know the song "Run Boy Run"? That's all I could think of when I was watching Save. I was like, "Run, get out of there, go! They're chasing you." But it's good to see he's on the server 8-1. Like those kind of anti-eco rounds are probably quite important for him to regain confidence, which he's been lacking since Mirage. And a really good tactical pause though from Nemiga. They go on to the second gun round. The first one couldn't have gone any worse. It seemed like there was a big lack of vision of what we wanted to achieve in the round. So now you've got the AWP out, you've got the meat and potatoes of a purchase, you've taken the pause, and guess what? Sammy has just opened up this round. The AWP sings, staying close, trying to bait in for Jota. He's fallen. Jota, though, the Molotov forces him out, and Risky Bob doubles down.
That's one of the best openings Nemiga could have asked for. Yes, they go down 1, but they trade it back and then some. Giving themselves a huge player advantage here. Now Sangal trying to kind of reinforce this a little bit, leaving their 2 players here. They kind of, I almost want to say gambled. I don't know if gambled is quite the right word, but they did heavily reinforce it at the start of this round. And now they're left kind of scratching their heads a little bit because they have no information outside of what has just gone down outside B main. There's every possibility in which Nemiga have opted to rotate out, head back towards A, maybe push through mid. So you can see them trying to take some aggressive presence. Now they've pushed out of A main, all the way past water and kind of towards the T spawn, which means they know for 100% sure that it is still a heavy lean over towards B. The flank could activate, but he needs time. Sangal have to buy him that time, have to let that happen. And unfortunately, Xanta will get that first kill to come through. And now LNZ alone on the site does so much, but can't get that second kill. And finally on round 5, Nemiga will find themselves a round on the board.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate that Youngster is the player to make that aggressive move from Canals, because he had all the utility. He had a full belt of util. If LNZ was the one instead to go on that expedition, then it would have allowed for Youngster to actually throw a smoke towards B main, for instance. You know, start wasting time on the clock, and maybe give some more space for xCloud also to rotate over, and just more space, more time for the lurk to activate. But once again, the AWP, close range, gets its first kill, mollowed out, and seemingly it's a replication of the previous round. He plays close, but the counter from Nemiga is super strong. And again, it's Jota who also falls. So it feels like deja vu, because this round couldn't be any more the same.
Yeah, I'll be real. There was a moment where I was like, are we watching a replay?
Yeah, I was like, is this a replay? Yeah. They're doing that again?
Oh, xCloud. Okay, he's getting cheeky with this, but he's about to walk into 3 players. He's heard some steps. Oh! Oh, that's outrageous. That's egregious. He can't win that. He hands over a free gun. Nemiga, well, thank you kindly. We will take that in stride. 4 players still alive here. I don't think there's a world in which Sangal pushed this, so Nemiga will now find themselves with a second round on the board. That being said, I think that for Sangal, even if they don't get another round in this half, 4 for CT is actually still doable.
4 for CT is like the bare minimum where you're scraping the bottom of the
Yeah.
barrel. It's unideal though if you get 4 straight away and then lose the subsequent 8.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Really good awareness. Like on one end, you can critique xFloud and say that he at least should have got 1 kill, but then there's the other hand of being like fair play to Lear for understanding that they had no control towards A, and that in the previous Sangal also pushed through A main, so maybe expecting them to do something similar, and they do. xFloud gets caught completely off guard. I don't expect him to be caught off guard there. You know, who clears... I don't even know what you'd call that angle. I like outside carpets towards middle by stairs. I don't know. I'd be like, there, right, corner, there, somewhere. But Liv, first round, first kill on the board. And pretty easily done from Nemiga. Very interesting. We've seen on their gun rounds so far, kind of just heavy hit towards bomb sites. They went A, it didn't work, and they've gone towards B early on in the previous 2. I'm interested to see if they play maybe a slower default in one of the upcoming rounds, or we see the exact same thing with the exact same utility off spawn again.
Sammy does still have AWP in hand, as mentioned, so perhaps we can see some heroics here from him. But we're not going to see the same shenanigans that we saw previously, and I think that is for the best. God. Barrage of util already coming through here. Jota forced through the smoke. Unfortunately, Zwei runs straight past him and shoots him from behind, so not too much he was going to get done there. Sammy, what are you doing? Caught out. AWP taken away. Youngster will get his. I'm going to just try and save the AWP, and Oh, he's actually managed to do it. I didn't think... No.
Oh, you spoke too early.
Oh,
cast a curse! Cast a curse!
To be fair, looking at where Nemiga are right now, I don't think there was a world, man.
No.
I think no matter what happened, they were going to take that gun away from him.
He could have got away temporarily. Very temporarily. But that's Lear. Very effective lurking. As I mentioned in the pre-show all the way at the beginning. He sometimes likes to call around where he ends up being this instrument of demise in the later stages. And even though it's, sure, not a round with loads and loads of impact around it, it certainly could have got dangerous or costly. And Lear makes sure neither is the case. And also the AWP doesn't get saved over. So we go into a full purchase for Sangal, where they do not have the AWP out for Sammy, and we've seen it's been pretty pivotal in getting those opening kills, struggling to get consistency around those openers. But Nemiga, are we just going to continue brute forcing bomb sites? Seems like we might actually go for more of a default, especially with this attempted crunch towards canals. It's Khan's time to open up the round with the AWP.
That's a great shot from him as well. I thought Jota might have just made it around the corner. To take Jota offline is always going to be a bit of a feather in the cap. I love Zwei's positioning here. They know Sangal like to get aggressive, and they are antiing that in every possible way. Great reaction from Zwei there. Spots the head out, gets the first. Trying to follow it up with a second. Meanwhile, Risky gets one of his own. Sammy will eventually take him out, but LNZ is now left in a 1 versus 2. He's being mollied off. He's gonna run straight through it. Oh. Fair enough. You know, I don't know if I vibe with that.
That almost worked. He almost caught Khan. That would have been amazing. But that is okay. Wait, this round, LNZ I think is going for this. Unfortunately, though, both players are actually honed in on him. Yeah, okay. Really unfortunate. LNC doesn't even get an attempt to try that retake. He falls. That means nothing saved over into this round for Sangal. Nemiga even up the scoreline. They claim 4 in a row for themselves on the T side. And I mean, it's a great opener from Calm. What is what was Sangal trying to achieve with that Canals push? Because they put the utility down, come out of cave connector, and then and then stop and run back after not really actually taking any space. I was quite confused with the setup of that round. Of there was a clear plan of what they wanted to achieve, and then backed out of it at like the worst time you possibly can. As we then go into the next, we've got another set play for Sangal that unfortunately doesn't really succeed past the first kill on Xanta. Even though he is having a rough game, the superstar of Nemiga is not quite delivered yet on Anubis. He can rest easy knowing Zwei and Lear are causing chaos on the extremities, and Risky Bob is just trading him whenever he can.
I almost want to say that maybe it was meant as more of like an informational kind of attention grab combo vibe. But
The Canals push?
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting call if that's the call.
Do you know what? If it worked, you would have been like, oh man, best call ever.
But like, I don't know what they were trying to achieve by just running away. Like, they kind of step out and then back turns. Like, whereas there was no utility from A either towards Canals, towards Carpets, and no one putting pressure towards A main. So that allowed for the T players to focus on Connector. I love a Canals push. Love it. You just gotta know when to commit and when to back off, and there was not the time to back off.
You gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them.
Yeah, literally, I guess. I think, yeah perfectly.
All right, well, Sangal will hold on to 2 AKs. So in a round that all they bought was like a few upgraded pistols and an MP9, yeah, sure. I don't think that they were expecting terribly much to come out of that. 2 kills and 2 free guns. We take those. And it's only a 1-round deficit. Saying that, however, it has been 5 consecutive rounds from Nemiga. And the last time we saw one of these 2 teams pull this off, it was Mirage, and Sangal won the whole damn thing. So I think perhaps this is where they start to sweat a little bit. At least now they can bring out a buy. But this is going to be a really important round for them because look at the cash situation. Yes, they are going to have that full loss streak bonus, so they'll still be able to come in with something in the next few rounds, but losing this is going to put them consistently kind of on that back foot. So they need this if they want a chance to have a resurgence and go into the second half with a little bit more to play with.
Very standard default from both sides. Nemiga looking to take A main. X-Cloud needs to be careful. Oh, okay, I guess it's Risky Bob needs to be careful. LNZ also there to support. Tunnel vision potentially onto the Turk who was around pillar, and that is a really easy double opening for Sangal. Feels like Nemiga, an early play that was just supposed to take map control, ends up being their downfall in round 10.
And it's weird, right? Because Nemiga's map control has been really, really good. So to see them lose out on that so kind of easy-handedly. Oh, unfortunate missed shot there. Yeah, a little bit uncharacteristic it almost feels like. Now Sangal have control of bomb, so the most Nemiga can hope for is a little bit of damage done. They will obviously go for this. They have so much cash in bag. If Leah had gotten that second kill, I would have been absolutely outraged.
He wins these. Oh.
Nah. Cast the curse.
yeah, that was it. That was it. There was no other reason.
Yeah. Definitely wasn't any other kind of a statement. Yeah, there you go. Evened out. Sangal finally managed to kind of stem the tide a little bit here. And I think some of that is part of that was just kind of playing a bit more passive.
It's just, I just don't really know what the point of that A main push. And kind of like attempting the trade and sometimes needing to know when to fold them. That's it. Ooh, change of play from Sangal. I was just about to comment on the fact that they never really played mid since I think, literally the second round. There you go. LNZ leaves X-Flat on A by himself and joins up with Sammy in the middle. They haven't actually identified the AWP. It was all LNZ, that opening kill. And that's Nemiga starting this round off very early in the man disadvantage.
All right, now we need to see those, you know, mid to late round adaptations start to shine. Jota spots one. Molly will force them into a little bit of discomfort here as Khan takes a buttload of damage. I like that Sangal are playing this a little bit more safe and secure, right? Those first couple of rounds with Sammy, he plays hyper-aggressive. He eventually gets punished for it, so they hit the brakes a little bit. Allow Nemiga to have to push. They're the ones that have to take the space. I say that, Youngster instantly swings, but he does get traded out by a full blind Zway. Advantage still for Sangal. Some nice smokes here, but that'll allow Jota to take a little bit of space. Bombs being planted. Jota can't stop it, but he can get a beautiful 180 transfer. And Khan, as he attempts to change guns, will get taken down through the smoke. And it's another pretty clean round for Sangal.
I mean, kind of best case scenario now at CT side. You're 6-5.
Yeah.
You go into this final round the half with a lot of confidence, and regardless what happens, you're sitting very comfortable, especially considering that you went flawless on your T side yesterday against Nemiga. And I'm just wondering, what are Sangal going to throw at us in the early stages now? We've kind of gone B early, we've gone A early, we've gone mid early. They're really keeping Nemiga on their feet. And the last two, the T side, have not been able to react effectively enough. Sammy with the AWP now, starting over towards middle by himself. And it's actually going to be bringing LNZ over towards B. So 3 riflers on that part of the map. Chopping and changing some of these positions slightly. And it's Nemiga for the first time, it feels like actually this T side going for some actual mid aggression and mid contact.
Oh, but they could potentially be walking directly. Oh, no, they actually molly him off.
That's
oh, man,
amazing.
he still wins that. That's actually outrageous. Unfortunate for Khan. Now, what is Nemiga opt to do? It looks like they're going to continue to push into mid here. Maybe hoping that it's that Sammy will have rotated right the way off. So he has, but LNZ is here to hold the line a little bit. This way will eventually manage to take out Jota all the way over towards that B side. Sangal getting aggressive could turn out to bite them. But they've still managed to keep it on an even kilter. Sammy, while he was a little bit quieter in the last few rounds, shows that he is for certain still in this server. Now Youngster realizes there's some serious presence over towards B, trying to impersonate Jota from the previous round, but he can only get one. Still a winnable situation here. LNZ catches Way with his back turned, and he has to play Ring Around the Rosie, and he will win. The Black Plague does not hit him. It actually hits Risky this time around. And there you go. Somehow, the half ends at 7-5 in favor of Sangal.
Nemiga tried to claw their way back into that first half, but their T-side falls short. Sangal onto 7, and it looks like we are replicating history. It looks like Sangal, for the second day in a row, want to defeat their opponents on Anubis on the third map. But this time, it's not just a group game. This time, it's for ESL Pro League Season 21.
All the marbles, all the biscuits, all the yummy goodies. Oh, dearie me. A little bit of an unfortunate body block there. Risky Bob's going to try to stem the tide a little bit, and he will buy just enough time for Zwei to get back into position and trade back. Xanta, hearing the footsteps rushing towards him, throws out a bit of smoke, but unfortunately Sangal runs straight through it. A smoke. We have no respect for such things. Youngster, a beautiful performance from him here, but now he's caught in a 1 versus 1. Bomb still on his back. And Leah definitely with the health advantage here. But a well-placed bullet will mean that that HP means literally nothing. Oh, you gotta hit the shot though. Leah not quite able to make it connect. Pulls out the knife for a little bit of a jiggle there. Takes a bit more damage. And that's the cue. That's Youngster going, you know what? I'll see you on the B side.
And Leah somewhat cautious that maybe Youngster's faking some sounds. Very soon he's going to realize that nope. He's on the B-bomb site. Bomb will be planted. Leah still isn't convinced. Now the penny will drop. Now he realizes it's planted on B, and Youngster, I think he's heard Lear jumping into Palace. He's heard that definitely. The jig is up. Lear's got a kit, no armor, 50 HP, goes to clear Youngster, but is ineffective with his clearing. And that's Sangal winning an ever so important pistol round.
They won both of the pistols on this map as well. Setting themselves up for some serious success here. I mean, I think that there were already worrying signs for Nemiga, given the fact that they only got 5 rounds on their T side. Needed to be a lot more in the bank for this one. And for Sangal, they're going to be feeling incredibly confident and comfortable. I nearly like smushed those 2 words together and that would have been awkward. Hero M4 for Nemiga though. Go on, do the thing. Come on, like just flip this whole thing on its head. Reset Sangal's econ. Take us into OT. That's what I'm here for.
I feel like this game deserves an overtime. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I love that Sangal played this slowly, expecting a potential pistol rush. So, you know, let's not be silly about things and throw away our lead.
Just very simple Counter-Strike. Maybe... Also realizing it's a force buy from the utility. X-Floud, the MAC-10 alongside LNZ is just going to be scouting out. It's also very standard to let the SMGs take the first contact, see if there's a potential stack anywhere, and also just allow the team to evade if necessarily. Looks like we need to get out of middle here, boys. You've definitely sold the fake. Nemiga, everyone's here. A 1-for-1 trade, but Jota, he's found space on B. As I was mentioning, the fake has been sold. Everyone rotated towards middle. Oh, it's getting potentially a little bit close. Wait, if he'd hit that deagle shot, it would be a 2 versus 2. But instead, the bomb gets planted with Sangal in the driver's seat. Khan already low from previous altercations. Zwei with no armor. There's definitely a world where they just completely save him. That's exactly what's going to happen. Sangal, they went flawless on their T side yesterday. 6 rounds in a row, and they've already got 2.
All right, well, at least the Nemiga get to hold on to the M4 that they forced into. I think losing that would have been pretty devastating. That as well as all of Khan's armor, right? Like, there's so much that they brought into this round. They do lose that deagle, unfortunately, but Khan sitting somewhat pretty into the next. Unfortunately, obviously, the rest of the team is going to be at quite the deficit here. So we're staring down the barrel of double digits for Sangal. Timeout comes through. I see just as we kind of transitioned into the replays. And, you know, off the back of what I just said, much needed. Because losing this round is almost a given. We've seen crazier things, but it's likely. Which means, sure, they'll be able to buy into the next, but they'll need 5 rounds in a row just to even things out. And one misstep could send their economy spiraling again. Wait, don't play with my heart. Okay. I felt like there was a moment where that could have been real, but then it wasn't.
For the content. For
Truly.
the content.
You know, just grab a no-go, it'll be fine. What could go wrong?
I mean, it's the if you get the kills, you make the money back, right? That's exactly what happens, right? Also, something to note, we've been putting a lot of emphasis on whoever wins this, you know, goes to the grand finals, makes Pro League. But whoever loses this is not out of the equation. They go to the consolation final, and they still have another opportunity. But obviously, you don't want to be going there. I think a really good example recently is 3D Max, who were in the grand finals of the ESL Challenger LAN, and they lost the bait, and you're like, okay, you got another opportunity. They lose the saw, they're out. So they had 2 opportunities, and sometimes it's just easier to get it done in one. And Sangal look to be wanting to achieve that. Nemiga will be playing against either 3D Max, Sashi, Saw, 9 Pandas, as all those games are still going on in the lower semi-finals. They then need to play another best of 3, and then they face off Nemiga on Saturday evening, and then Sunday will be the grand finals. The placements for Pro League will already be set, but it's basically a battle for whoever gets an extra $5,000, which is not an amount to shy away from.
Yeah. I think it's also worth noting that, like, the teams in the lower bracket aren't really anything to sniff at either, right? Like, Saw 9 Pandas. 9 Pandas were maybe not a surprise. That's not the right word, but given the teams that they were playing up against, you maybe would have thought that they wouldn't have made it this far. So they've done very, very well. Saw, I think there's a good chance that Saw have actually lost to 9 Pandas already, because things were looking pretty one-sided on their second map. Oh, did they make it to the third map?
Saw won map 1. Oh, no. Saw map 1-2 in overtime. They brought it to overtime. It was a 9-3-1 for 9 Pandas, and they threw it all away.
Yeah. That's why I was like, maybe Saw lost that, but no. Well done. But yeah, I mean, really strong teams in the lower brackets. So if you can secure yourself Pro League now, why trouble yourself with the lower brackets?
For sure. And 3 rounds away for Sangal. Xanta realizes that the cavalry is coming towards him. All 5 players in the mouth of a main. We're taking our time with it, Sangal are. But now they explode. Molotovs towards default. Xanta forced to smoke himself. 3 players here for Nemiga. It's chaos. But through the dust, Nemiga come out victorious. Finally, they lose a player, but it's a consolation kill as Sammy thrust into a 1 versus 4. It's picking up another, but it's just damage. And Nemiga finally get a round on the board in the second half.
Yeah, Sammy and Zwei have actually been having like a stellar map between the 2 of them, both sitting on 16 kills apiece. And I think that's even more noteworthy for Zwei, just because, like, the rest of his team, they're doing their thing, but they're certainly trailing a little bit too far behind. Whereas for Sangal, I mean, most of their players are hot on Sammy's heels, so it's not as much of a talking point, I suppose. And unfortunately, you know, it starts to look very akin to what we saw previously, but in reverse on the previous map, where Sangal were kind of trailing behind a little bit some of their players. Now it's Nemiga that kind of have to fight their way back in. Tracer rounds give the game away. Spam through the smoke means that we get the first 2 kills, but it's Zwei, of course it is, to trade it instantly back. 2 kills of his own before he's taken out. He's done all that could be asked of him. And now Leah and Xanta have to somehow wrestle back this control. Leah's going to be in a 1 versus 2, but he loses that one. And now Xanta, what is the play? Nah. Back out. Hold on to the gun.
Save.
Yeah. There's no way that you try and push this.
Well, you just called upon Zwei, and he's also had a really good series. He was great on Ancient.
Yeah.
Towards middle, he was super consistent. I don't think it really shows in the kills, you know, because he just seems like he plodded along. But he actually got so many pivotal kills. And the same can be said for Anubis. Evidently there, you know, like he gets 2 kills. He should have secured a round victory, but everybody else around him falters. And that Sangal charging towards A didn't work. Drastically didn't work. So instead, they redirect themselves over towards B, do a very similar play. This time, the first 2 entries come out in their favor. The individuals shine, and now we hit 11. 2 more rounds away for granting them a place in another ESL Pro League. The first team through to the grand finals, where they will have a map advantage in that series. And the last time they played in that grand finals against Koi, they were on the lower bracket run. So they started that series, that best of 5, in a 0-1, and they won. They dropped 1 map and won 3. That's super impressive. They have shown that they are not just a one-trick pony. You know, they sprung out very quickly, winning Res, winning CCTs, and winning ESL Challenger Season 47 in very quick succession, but now have refined themselves, have developed their play, and are looking like a consistent top 20 team that they can surely be very proud of what they have already achieved. But the job's not done just yet. They need to kick it over the line, and they've already got an opening kill in a very pivotal round.
Oh, unlucky. Xfloud had some util in hand, peeks through. Khan will instantly trade back that opener. Give Nemiga another chance here to stay alive. Risky Bob taking the very close angle. Good for the first. Zwei to follow it up. And Sangal, who started this with a beautiful leading kill, they haven't managed to hold on to that control. Good to see Nemiga taking a little bit more proactivity. Risky Bob goes for the risky play. Gets himself a free AK. Now, LNZ, how expensive can you make this? 2 kills already, 1 versus 2. Doesn't have the bomb, has to find it. That smoke is going to dissipate very, very shortly, but he's able to make it across, pick up the bomb. He suspects, perhaps even heard the footsteps, the flash to come through, but no swing to follow. 24 seconds left. A decision has to be made. Surely he spots the elbow. There you go. He knows for 100% sure where this player is. Swings around the corner, ducking and diving. But it's Xanta who wins out in that duel. And in an maybe not uncharacteristic, but an unexpected round, Nemiga actually regained the control.
I think very poor round, to be honest, from Sangal. Like, we're giving away those 1 versus 1s in B main. We're trying to utilize our Molotovs to force a player out and grant Sammy an opening kill. And when that doesn't come into fruition, it seemingly all falls apart. Very lackadaisically, just running in, just into the hands of an MP9. Like, I don't really see where directly the game plan was for Sangal. Trying to hope to crack through and within that commotion allow for LNZ to then rotate through Palace, which he ultimately did, but unfortunately it was after everybody had fallen. So Nemiga certainly showing today that they are not just going to roll over, because yesterday when they played in the Res Championships, the $250,000 LAN that's currently going on, Sangal and Nemiga on Anubis, it was a whitewash in the second half. Sangal just 6 in a row. Job's done. Easy as you like. But now there's a little bit more resistance. Is it just going to be splatter here or there? Or is there going to be consistency? They're up against the Eco now. Sangal are going to be forced into pretty much just Glocks, maybe Deagle armor from Youngster, Deagle from Jota here and there. But it's going to be 8 for Nemiga. They win that gun round. Ooh, we've got a game on our hands all of a sudden.
Yeah, I must admit, like, I'm always in 2 minds when your scoreline is like X to 11 and you opt to force in. And to me, it's always so risky, because if it works out, like what we've just seen Nemiga do, you come into the next round, you've got some cash to work with, you can get a buy through, you've given yourself a little bit of a lifeline. And they've more or less broken Sangal's economy as well. So when it works, it's phenomenal. But when it doesn't work, you've broken your own economy and your opponent is on map point. It's one of those things, right? It's like forcing when you lose the pistol. It's risky, but at least if you force after losing the pistol, generally speaking, you've got a few rounds to bring it back. In this situation, the risk is that much greater. Luckily for Nemiga, works out. They're going to be pleased as punch. Anti-eco for them. That's going to bring them up to 8. And they've got a much cleaner pathway to potentially taking us into that OT. Because I don't think they take this 13-11. I think if we are going to see this go the distance, it's gonna end up in that OT. Yeah, so far so good for Sangal to take this. Sorry, for Nemiga to take this 8th round.
Ecos. The AWP has just lost to a Glock. At range. There will be some chuckles in the Sangal prac room. Over in Serbia. I still find it funny that like we're basically playing a LAN game, even though it's not obviously a LAN. It's an online tournament, but they're both at the same event, playing in the same conditions as they were in the officials at that LAN. So kind of do with that narrative what you will. But this is the round I'm keeping an eye on. Nemiga, they win this. Ooh, an upset could be brewing. A comeback could be upon us. It looks like Sangal want to actually default, take mid control, but they're just running into the hands of Lear. The IGL isolated, does well to pick up the first, but now as he falls, we see the reaction from Xanta and Khan. If they walk forward, they'll be walking into the crosshairs of Sammy, and this AWP cannot miss his shot.
That's assuming he's given the opportunity to take the shot.
We're wrapping B. Oh my god, what a play.
What a read.
What in God's name is this read?
Oh my god, bro. They've literally looked through into the 4th dimension. I think one of their players is cosplaying as Doctor Strange right now.
There's no way you expect this. Zway's going to go back to the site. Oh no, he's checking Palace. Oh, he's got the awareness. LNZ hoping to be the prodigal son. Showing off his brains, flexing his mind. But Zway has identified, just walking through the smoke. That feels a little bit ballsy. And Jota shows him why. He only gets 1 kill, but that's enough to deter them. Nemiga, they have to give up this round. They can't go for the retake under these conditions. And that's Sangal hitting map series ESL Pro League points.
What a ridiculous round to do that as well. I appreciate what Nemiga were doing, right? You're trying to take map control. You're trying to potentially encircle. You're thinking like maybe there's going to be a push towards A. You can get behind them. You can kind of catch them off guard. What they don't realize is after losing a player in mid, instead of backing away, which is obviously it's a legitimate, course of action, they opt to just keep going around the world and not towards A, but towards B, which they cannot possibly know is completely free and clear. But they go for it anyway. They figure, you know what, even if there are people there, we're getting in behind them. They're not going to expect us to be here. We'll be able to kill them, and then we have the site to ourselves. Little do they know, they're walking into an absolutely free site. And the fact that Zway has an inkling to just kind of turn around, give a little bit of a listen, and find out that they actually are still there is amazing just in its own right. But unfortunately, it doesn't really amount to anything. And now LNZ, the spray through the smoke will connect beautifully. Nemiga trying to go for an aggressive push, trying to catch Sangal off guard, but Sangal are always so hyper vigilant, so hyper aware. And Jota, he's been such a rock star. He will continue to put bodies in the ground, with Nemiga only having 2 players left, both of them split so far from one another, one already being spotted out over towards B. He's gonna have to pull back wait for reinforcements, try to meet up with Risky Bob, who's picked up the AWP. It's not his usual weapon of choice, and there you can see it play out. He misses a crucial shot onto the bomb planter. I don't know if there's a way back into this round. Health.
Can't save.
That's it, right? You have to push this. But I suppose my point is, will it amount to anything? Nope. Sammy has the sight line. The spray comes through from xCloud, doesn't quite connect, but Sammy knows where that last player is, and isn't it poetic? Sammy, who opened up this map, he will shut it down as well. 21-11. And Freddy, you and I, we were on the same page, and by gosh, we were right. Sangal, after a dismal performance on map 2, they really brought it back on map 3, and a bit of a statement win, it feels like.
Yeah, they deny the comeback, and for the second season in a row, they qualify through ESL Pro League, through ESL Challenger League in Season 47, in Season 48. They've made the grand finals. They are radiating their development and are now demanding that teams at the highest of levels respects them.
Yeah, I think that this has been really impressive kind of across the board, because I think that we can't take too much away from Nemiga, right? Like, that second map from them was outstanding. Of course, it was their map pick. You expect it to go well, but it was definitely a lot more one-sided than it maybe could have been. And on Anubis, unfortunately, things looked a little bit shaky, but they held their own for the most part. Now, of course, we do have to take a look at our player to watch, and this was probably the low light of the series for him. He had a really good series across the board. Not that this was bad by any measure, but of the 3 maps, I think this was the more quiet, and it's because Sammy just kind of showed up.
Yeah, really impressive. It actually wasn't the riflers. Like, Jota, sure, I think had a really good final round there, exhibiting how he's really good at a B anchor on the T side, similar to actually what Zwe was doing. It's 2 very similar players who are really good at playing that position. And especially Jota gets given a lot of freedom to excel. Last round, we see that. But xCloud just plays really consistent, and I think that's also kind of why we pick him as a player to watch. That he lives in the shadow of Jota potentially at times because of these like crazy like these kind of crazy points and these crazy statistics, but overall xCloud is always there churning along and keeping very consistent.
Yeah, so that will, of course, confirm our first team to make it to Pro League. Incredibly exciting for them. And over in our other matches that are still currently ongoing, I say that, I think they may have actually ended. So I'm just trying to find an update. No, they haven't actually. 3D Max currently in the lead on map 3, but only just. And so are 9 Pandas also kind of tied up at the moment in the second half. So still a bit difficult to tell who is going to be making it through in the lower bracket and who might eventually be coming up against Nemiga to find out, well, you know, which one of them is going to make it to Pro League here. So you know, if you want to go check that out, that's happening on our other streams. We're waiting to see if we perhaps will be having an interview, which would be quite exciting. We tried to have one yesterday, and we got a little bit debated. So hopefully today we will actually... It was certainly entertaining, but hopefully today we'll get to, because I know that you specifically wanted to chat with Alan Z a little bit, and he just had that interview on HLTV, so there were a lot of things you wanted to kind of pick his brain about, so hopefully we'll get an opportunity to chat about that a little bit more. But before we do that, I kind of want to get your temperature check on Alan Z as a IGL. You know, how do you think that he has been performing?
I think he was scapegoated massively with the whole NIP stuff, and I think that kind of plummeted his stock. But you can see he's built like a perfect system with Jumpy. The 2 Swedes, the IGL, the coach, they've kind of I don't know if we want to say found Jota, because he's obviously an FPL star, but he's not had loads of experience in a team setting, and yet they bring him in and he excels at this level. Same with someone like Sammy. Youngsters are real like diamond in the rough. Like, where's that kid come from? And he plays a perfect role in the system. I think LNZ is really good. I think he has a really bright future, and it's very evident that he understands how to play with the pieces that he's been given, because like you need to understand when to give freedom, when to rein in, especially when you've got players like Jota and xFloud that can just excel individually. It's very evident, and with their just seismic upward trajectory that doesn't seem like it has an end, he has melded this system perfectly. And I think with them going to EPL last season, they said they're a little bit nervous. They beat FaZe on the opening day. If that's what you're like, nervous, I don't know. Like, what's going to be happening in the future? They're looking like the favorites for the Res Champions. They don't want to see themselves out the favorites, but I think they are. My interest will be peaking when they start actually, if they win this tournament, how does that affect them going into the RMR? Like, do they actually get too much pressure? Because realistically, apart from xFloud with his experience on Eternal Fire, fairly new roster, fairly young players. I hope that maybe some of the pressure doesn't get to them, because I think the sky's the limit. And once more, they exhibit it today, not as a Cinderella. Whoa, that was a massive, crazy lower bracket run. Congratulations. They do it from the upper bracket and look incredibly dominant throughout, while also playing a different tournament at the exact same time.
Yes, very, very impressive from Sangal, and it does look like their trajectory is heading straight up. Unfortunately, we are not able to secure an interview for this evening, so that is going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you so much, guys, for joining Freddie and myself as we took you through this match. It's our last day on ESL Challenger League, but it was an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys. Make sure to tune in for the rest of the season so that you can find out who's going to take that second spot in the EPL. But until then, have an awesome evening, and we'll see you next time.